Good evening, Nick family. Welcome to the Queen's Court. We meet here every Monday to break down the storylines as they relate to the New York Knicks. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button so you'll be notified anytime a video drops or we go live on this channel. That includes, of course, Queen's Court, the crossover with my co-host Tony Crow, the controversy with Josh, aka Uncle Fulio, the NBA report with Ron and John from Still Nick fans, International Andy, who has yet to name his show, but he dropped a video. He had his first live show as well. Shout out to Andy. And then, of course, Sim, the creator of this channel, pregame, postgame, the shoot around, videos to keep you updated, as well as events. And we might have another one. We shall see. Today, we're talking about what else the New York Knicks need to do to upgrade this roster for next season, whether we get Donovan Mitchell or not. So we're going to talk about that. I'm joined today. I have an esteemed panel. Salute, fellas. Tony Crow, Knicks and Bruises,
Peace,
DJ
Queen.
Shep. I am Jarrell and Stafford Don, resident panelist on Dope Soul Sports Talk, my channel. I appreciate you guys. How's everyone doing?
Peace. Salute to everybody.
Blessed Queen.
Good, we're good. Yo,
Happy to
Black
be
is
here.
time.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. And of course, Sim is in the background doing what he does. I believe the phone lines are up. So, yeah. Sorry, I just want to pull the page up myself. Okay. All right, fellas. Let's get right into it. Actually, if we don't trade for Donovan Mitchell and our team is the way it is right now, do you feel like, one, there's nothing else we need to do? We can just go in, like we added Brunson, remember, we added Hartenstein, we re-signed Mitch. So if we don't sign for Donovan Mitchell, do you feel like the roster still needs some upgrades, or this would be good enough? And then after that, we'll start talking about the floor and ceiling of the team. Tony, let's start with you. Shout out to the chat.
I can't say good enough because there's always room for improvement. But what I can say is I like this roster as constructed if we can't pull off an upgrade. I like what we've done so far, and I'll get into why, when the time comes.
Okay, Staffer.
If we don't get Donovan, I don't think it's the end of the world. I still think that we could go out and compete. One of the biggest things everybody was talking about is Julius Randle, and I think he's going to be the key to this team moving forward if we don't get Donovan. But at the same time, if we don't get him, it's all good because the next following year, we have a bunch of free agents that we could sign without even giving up anybody. So we good. We good.
All right. Jarrell, any more upgrades you'd like to see for this? Right now, we're working under the assumption that Donovan Mitchell is not on the team. The team as it presently constructed, are you okay with where it is? Would you like to see some tweaks? And then we'll get into what the ceiling or floor would be with this team if we ran it back, if we played it the way it is right now.
I think we should still try to go for some tweaks, but I'm not really sure, what those can be. We still have a question at backup point guard, even though Jalen Brunson is here. I'm not completely sold on quickly being the backup point guard yet. Like, he's still going to be either one or two over there, and I'm not counting on Derrick Rose. We'll talk about the ceiling and the floor later, but yeah, like I said, I think we still need upgrades. This is not done, even if we don't have Donovan Mitchell.
Okay, so for you, it would be a backup point guard. Okay.
Right.
DJ Shuttle?
I mean, listen, is this, top team in the league? No. But the team is definitely better coming into this season than they were last year. Looking at what's available in free agency, I don't see anything that's out there. So really, I couldn't imagine adding anything to this team until we're talking trade deadline, when you see either the team is overachieving or underachieving. And from there is when you'll decide if you're a buyer or seller. But as we stand right now, with the starting lineup we have and the backups that we have at every position, I mean, I feel like it's going to be better than a lot of teams in the league.
Okay. What I would like to see us, because you're right. There's a lot of feedback. I mean, you're right in the sense that the second team seems to be pretty set, but I would like to see a stretch four on this team. I feel like both Randall and Obi's 3-point shooting is a bit shaky. I think they both ended the season around 30%, and I would like to have somebody that can stretch the floor a little bit. Remember, RJ plays below the 3-point line. So does Randall. So does Mitch.
That's Hardenstein. That's Hardenstein. Hardenstein's going to be draining those threes.
Well, Hardenstein is backing up Mitch. So he would be, somewhat of a stretch 5. And I don't know if he's going to get the touches to make that big of a difference. So that we can say we have a stretch 4, stretch 5. You know what I mean? Like, is he going to get, how many minutes is he going to get?
Mitch has proven that he's down to miss a nice number of games, and he's proven that he's bound to be in foul trouble. So I expect this guy to be getting at least 20 minutes a game.
Right. What I would like, though, is some stretch 4 that's in the rotation, and it's not based on whether somebody gets injured or is not. Basically, I feel like this starting unit is a bit clunky in terms of shooting. Is concerned. I just don't think we got a lot of guys that like to operate in the key, and that includes Brunson. And again, I'm not saying that these guys can't hit a 3, right? Brunson can hit a 3, RJ can hit a 3, Randall can hit a 3. Obi can, Mitch, it is what it is, but we don't have those types of players on this team. Now, Fournier can. And if we're bringing the team back, I would think that either him or Grimes would be in that starting lineup. And so that's going to, help some. But I do wish, we'll put it this way, more shooting in that starting lineup. I wish we had more shooting in that starting lineup. But I'm not quite sure where the upgrades are going to come, because it looks like that second team is set.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting here trying to figure out, if we got Randall in the starting lineup and Obi's the backup, where's this stretch 4 playing? How is he playing? I'm over here feeling like a weirdo because I don't know what you're talking about, Steph.
Right. Well, maybe that we got to do something with that position. I mean, I think as fans, we look at the roster as if anything that's going to be fixed has to come from the roster itself. You can go outside the roster. People can be moved to upgrade the roster, whether that's Randall, whether that's Obi. And I'm saying this is aside from Donovan Mitchell. I don't think we're stuck. I think you have to look at, how are you going to make this team better? And if you look at the roster and you say, wow, we don't have a lot of shooting at that 4th position. We got 2 guys that's shooting 30%. What are we going to do about that? I don't feel like we need to think that we're stuck with Randall and Obi, and there's nothing we're going to be able to do. We just have to accept 30% shooting from that position. That being said, they could be better.
I was gonna say optimistic.
They could be better. They could be better.
I don't think the roster is done whether we get Mitchell or not.
I think we all agree that.
Yeah, okay. Some people think we done, Tony. Like, they don't want nobody else. They want all of our.
DJ Shuttle's point where? I mean, think about.
Right.
Yeah. Now, I should have made this a slide just so we can get a visual. You would think Brunson. Let's just say Fournier. It doesn't matter. It could be Cam or Fournier. Brunson, you got Fournier, you got RJ, you got Randall, you got Mitch. In that backcourt, you got IQ, Grimes, Cam, Obi, Hartenstein. I agree. I think, we need some more shooting. And if you're not sold on IQ or Rose because of the injury history, like you're saying, Jarrell, you would like to see a backup
point.
I guess, a more stable backup point guard.
Right.
Where would we even make any of these upgrades given that second unit unless we trade, which is fine.
That was kind of my point in the draft when we was going through the draft prospects. And I was like, if we draft a wing, when is he ever going to play?
Mhm.
So I wasn't shocked that we didn't have a draft pick. So I don't know, that still is a problem because the way that everybody wants the young kids to play, right? But we're so young that we're kind of set in our roster that we almost can't bring somebody in unless we do trade one of our young players.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no other roster spots left.
Well, that's what I was saying. Next year, when there's going to be like at least 7 free agents, like good free agents that we could grab to add to this team. So I agree. There's more to put to the roster. So even though if we don't get Donovan or we get somebody next year to add with him a complimentary and still trade out players, I think we'll be still fine.
Right. And Sim, and I'm waiting for it to come up. It's not coming up. But Sim said, shout out to Sim. If the roster ain't done, even if they don't get Mitchell, then they would have to be trades.
Right.
That would be the only reason to bring in some other needs that the Knicks may have. It would have to be through trades. Yes.
Well, as an outside option, there's always number 7, Melo. Bring him home. Where maybe he doesn't start. Maybe he's not even immediate, rotational guy, but he's used in a situation where we need shooting at that position. You know what I mean? And he could come in and knock down shots as needed when needed, right? So that's an option. I also think Cam Reddish playing some 4 is an option that kind of opens up the floor. I didn't use my slides today, but one of my lineups was a 3-point shooting lineup where I had IQ at point guard, Grimes at the 2, RJ at the 3, Cam at the 4, and Hartenstein at the 5. Where now you got 5 out, everybody could shoot the ball. So I think we have it on the roster, and we could go out there and make some minor moves out there. As much as I do want Carmelo, though, I think more of a need, if we're talking outside of Mitchell and this roster, is we need to solidify our defense somewhere in that perimeter. So to me, that's a little bit more important than the knockdown shooting. I mean, obviously, if we could get somebody who's shooting 40 or above, we want that.
Right.
But I think, like you just finished saying, I think Randall should jump back up. Maybe not to 40, but maybe 35%. I think RJ has improved tail end of the season. Let's see if he can stay at that 35 or up. You know what I mean? I think we have it in Grimes. I think we have it in Cam. So I think we have the shooting potential on this team. Right. I think something that we really, really need is somebody to kind of solidify the defense. And honestly, that's with or without Donovan Mitchell.
Right. All right. So backup point guard, a stretch for, or at least some more shooting, and some more defensive players. And Sim brought up a great point. If we're going to get any of that, it would have to be through trades. And so I think if Donovan Mitchell is off the table, if they decide not to pursue Donovan Mitchell, I would not be surprised if there are trades made to try to upgrade the roster some, or to get some other things in that we need. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Fournier was traded. I wouldn't be surprised if Rose was traded. I wouldn't be terribly surprised if Randall was traded. It would have to, it have to be well thought out. I don't think they're shopping him. But I would not. Well, let me ask this question. How confident are you that the team as it is presently constructed, we're not talking about Donovan Mitchell, is the team that's going to show up at training camp, that there are no other moves that's going to be made?
Aside from Spider, I don't see anything else happening
Okay.
because I don't think there's any other big ticket that's available that's out there, and there's nobody else that's a free agent currently that's going to move the needle, and there's nobody that's, I mean, yeah, so somebody, it had to be somebody that becomes available that up to this point hasn't been known that's available. You know, like Spider became available. He wasn't available before, allegedly. So, you know, like it had to be
It
something
have to be
brand.
a star player?
I think it had to be somebody. Listen, Brunson, you just signed Brunson. RJ's locked in. Mitch, you just re-signed. He's locked in. He's not going anywhere. Nobody really wants Randall, even if you want to get rid of him. Not to mention, he's Tibbs' guy, even though he might not be Rose's guy. And Fournier is maybe somebody capable of being dealt, but truth be told, he's one of the top 3-point shooters in the league. So that's why I'm not really mad at the team. So for a deal to be made, it would have to be something super significant to make any type of real impact to the team. Because listen, Tibbs loves Grimes. He's already in the system. IQ's got some confidence. Obi's got confidence. These guys are now 2 years in the system. You got the camaraderie. For you to bring guys in that are going to be marginally difference makers, potentially, you don't even know. They're going to be most likely be backups. Like, why am I doing that deal? If I'm the Knicks, it's not. It does for me. It doesn't make any sense that they would do any deal unless it's for a star player that's going to be in that lineup at the shooting guard position. That's the only position in the starting lineup really that's open, unless you somehow find something better than Randall. And as much as everybody hates on Randall, how many power forwards really were better than Randall this past year? Not many. So there's not really that much out there.
All right. For the rest of the panel, do you think that this is the team that comes to training camp, or what are you fairly confident, not so confident that this exact team is what you're going to see in training camp?
Well, let me say this. I like the roster. I do think that we have like continuity with this squad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just for Bronson and Hartenstein just to really gel with the other players and the other players to gel with them. So it's like, I feel like even if we go into the season with this team, I still think that we could at least be a 9 or 8 seed. You know, I don't want to push it and say, "Oh, we're going to be in the top 6." But as DJ Shuttle just said, there is not too much power forwards that was better than Randall last year. But what I'm saying also too is that there's next year's draft, next year's free agency. And I think one of the guys that I like in the next free agency is Gary Trent Jr. He could come
we
in as
didn't
a
get into the floor and ceiling of the team as presently constructed. I'm just saying, are you confident that this is the team that's coming to training camp?
Without Donovan, sure. Yeah, I feel so. Because there's nothing else. There's nothing else out there. You know,
Okay.
so I'm good with the team. 8 or 9 seed.
Okay.
And Quinn, are you asking? Are we confident in this team?
No.
Or, okay.
Are you confident that this is the team that's going to come to training camp?
If I had to place a wager, I would think that Donovan will be on this team by training camp.
Without Donovan, no. But okay.
I mean,
don't trade for Donovan.
Then I'm confident this is the move with maybe an addition of Melo. You know, farewell tour.
Right. Something
Terrell?
that you can get on the low. You don't have to actually make a trade.
Right.
Okay. Terrell?
Well, I'm confident through training camp, but through the trade deadline, that's a different question. Like, I'm confident that we'll probably have the same team coming into the season, but I think somebody will be leaving before the trade deadline.
Right.
Yeah, I'm so confident. Like I could see Fournier being moved before the season starts. I could see Cam being moved before the season starts as well. I think that the Knicks are still looking to upgrade this team. And I get it, as fans, we think that this is the team. But even when we talk about, we're going to talk more about it. We're talking 7th seed, 8th seed, 9th seed. I think the Knicks want more than that. So I think the Knicks are looking to see through trades who is available now. If nobody is available, they're going to bring this same. They're going to bring this same team back. But I personally think there are going to be some trades, even if we don't get Donovan Mitchell before training camp starts. I don't think we're going to come back with this same team. If we do, I'm not disappointed.
Mhm.
I'm just saying that I think that they're going to look to move Fournier. I think they're going to look to move Cam as well. We shall see. But let's get into now. If they don't, and this is the team that comes back, what's the ceiling what's the floor and the ceiling? So in other words, this is I think this team is going to be at least 7. But if certain things break right, if this person pops off, if this person takes a step, I think the ceiling would be such and such. So just talk to me a little bit about no Donovan Mitchell. What's your floor or ceiling and why? Tony, we'll start with you.
My floor is 10th seed. 10th seed is the last play-in spot, right?
Mhm.
All right, so yeah, that's gonna be my floor. I don't think there's any way we do any worse than that. We were 11th seed last year. I think Brunson is a world of improvement in himself. I'm actually, my floor might even be higher than that, but just to keep it in play-in range, I'm gonna say 10th seed as the floor, and my ceiling is probably 5th seed, to be honest. Because I really think he moves the needle that much. Brunson. The addition of a true point guard, true leader, true extension of the coach, true extension of the assistant coach, and then another dynamic that we were missing in Hartenstein. So when we talk about ceilings, obviously things have to pan out, right? So it's not saying this is definitive, but he brings a different dynamic that we have not had on this roster, at least under this regime. Somebody who could stretch the floor, somebody who actually has some moves in the paint, energy, defense. Like this is a new dynamic at center position, new dynamic at point guard position. I think those two things alone make us a lot better team. And then now we talk about the continued progression of RJ Barrett. We don't know where that's going to be, but I think he's going to keep moving up. So I think that's going to be a plus. If Randall could reclaim who he was 2 years ago, or just meet somewhere in the middle, or even just negate the off the court or non-basketball issues. I think that makes a world of difference. And then obviously I could keep going down the line with quickly, if Cam pans out, Obi, if he's not worried about playing time and just plays when he has the time. You know what I mean? I think all that could really propel us into a 5th seed.
Okay, 5-10. Staffer?
My floor, I'll have to go probably 10 also too. My ceiling, I ain't gonna jump out the gate like TC and say 5. I'm gonna go 7. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna go 7, heavily numbered. So And as far as the players, as I was saying before, I think, as I said before, Randall, even though I root for the kid, but I think he has to adapt to the system where Bronson is coming in and he don't have the ball in his hands too much. And I do believe if he could, as Tony said, just reach in the middle. You don't have to be way up. You don't have to be way down. Just give us something and be consistent. I think we could do some things. And with the addition of Bronson, where we didn't have a point guard, now he could put people in his places. We could even probably open the playbook a little more. You know what I mean? And definitely, I can't forget Barrett also too, because he needs to step up at the 3-point line. He needs to step up at the free throws, and we need to excuse me, and we need to see a little more of his right hand, right? And I think the bench gonna come along with some continuity. If we don't trade Rose, I think Rose is also going to be a significant part of that bench. He's going to bring leadership. He's going to calm down the team at the same time. And I do think we could we'll be moving up the ladder from there.
Okay. Jarrell, and then we'll get to DJ. Shuttle, floor, ceiling, and why?
I agree mostly with Tony. Other than the floor, though, my floor is actually a little higher. I would say that the floor was about like 8, because we finished 11th last year, right? So I think just with the upgrades of Brunson, if everybody remains healthy, young players actually get better, I think our floor is probably like around 8 or 7, to be honest. My ceiling is 5, just like Tone. Just for like same points that he had, and I actually think all of our young players should be better than they were last year. At least they should. It's another year under the system. My thing is just Tibbs' system in general, whether and how Brunson runs it. But just by Jalen Brunson being on this team alone should give us all of those losses that we had, like being up 25 and just losing in the fourth quarter. Those shouldn't be the same as it was last year.
Right.
Not with Jalen Brunson on this team. That's not going to happen. That like he's not going to let that happen just for him being on the floor. He usually stays healthy. For me, it's just health. Our young guys are getting better. So floor 8, ceiling 5.
Okay. All right. DJ Shuttle.
Okay. I'm gonna make sure I cover a take that I've heard you mention. We cannot forget about the other teams. So I'm gonna start just by touching on the other teams. I think that the teams that were in the top 6.
Let me help you out. All right.
Okay.
This is how they finished last year.
Yeah, I actually had it up on another tab, but thank you.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Well, I was prepared. So I think the top 6 teams stay in the top 6. I don't think there's any movement there. All those teams have either maintained the status quo or they've improved their teams. I think Team 7, we can expect the Nets to be a travesty, and with the Charlotte Hornets, with Bridges maybe playing, maybe not playing, that could have a negative impact on that team. So I would say, that being the case, I think Atlanta, I like the Murray pickup for them. They could maybe boost their way to 6 or 7, 5 even. But I think the Knicks could easily compete with Atlanta and Cleveland for a high of the 7 seed. And I think that they would be competing, on the low as a 10 seed. There's no way that they wouldn't be a play-in team, with the roster as constructed when you compare them to the rest of the other teams that are in the Power 5.
Let me ask a question to you, DJ Shuttle, and the rest of the panel. Anybody 11 through 15 other than the Knicks, do you think making a push into that same 7 to 10 that the Knicks are trying to?
The only other team I could see potentially making a run, and I don't even see it realistically. I think everybody under that line, other than the Knicks, have not made a significant improvement. The only team possibly small chance is Indiana because they've got extremely good guard play. You know, Halliburton, Duarte. I think they've got like
Benedict
yeah,
Mathurin.
their guard play is going to be stellar. Their shooting is going to be stellar. So small chance, but I don't think any of those teams really are likely to do it. All the other teams are just too young and inexperienced. You know, and the Wizards. Don't get me started with that guy. So, they'll be watching.
Steph, you muted.
Yep, you muted, Steph.
There's some static coming in. It's ever so slight. I thought it might have been mine. That's why. No, it might be me.
They might try to start you less.
Yeah, I'm muted, so it shouldn't be me.
Yeah. Somebody said I said in the chat, was there a TV going? But maybe I'm just hearing my own fan or whatever. But yeah, so this is a tough one. I think that the Knicks can move into the play-in at 10. I think this is a tight Eastern Conference because I really think Cleveland is going to be better. I think Cleveland finished 9th because of the injuries they had to Rubio. Then they had an injury to Jared Allen. I think that might have, they lost marketing for a while. Same thing with Chicago. I think it's going to be it's going to be really tough. So I do think the Knicks, I think Charlotte, with the Miles Bridges situation, they may fall out of the top 10. Brooklyn, now they're talking a trade with Boston. And if this trade goes through, I think Boston still stays in the top 10, but I think Brooklyn is better. They may not fall out. If they're able to do that trade with Boston and Boston agrees to give up Marcus Smart. So now Brooklyn now has Jaylen Brown, they have Marcus Smart, they have Ben Simmons, and those other players on the team. We can talk about chemistry, but talent-wise, I think that they would be a talented team. Now, whether or not they have chemistry, whether or not they put it together, but I think we would all agree if that trade goes down, that Brooklyn would probably still be in the top 10. Not sure.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to say 10. As far as ceiling, I'm 6, 7. I know everybody's because this is the thing. When I say ceiling, like Tony Crow said earlier, everything would need to break right.
Right.
I mean everything. That means Randall being near his all NBA. Well, let me backtrack. That means Randall playing both ends of the floor, playing a traditional power forward role where he's not turning the ball over, he's not facilitating the offense, but he's somebody that you can throw the ball to down low and he can get you a basket. And all of your offense is not generated from up top.
Right?
If he can do that and he's shooting pretty efficiently, RJ takes the next step. Like Jarrell said, our young guys, take the next step. Brunson would have to find his way in this new offense. Now, keep in mind, when Brunson played in Dallas, they played 5 out. They played with a lot of players that can shoot the 3 and stretch the floor for him. That gave him that room to get in the key and operate. That may not be the case with the Knicks. So Brunson, that's one of the key things, is that Brunson would have to find his way in this new offense, right? If he does that, RJ takes the next step. Randall approaches, his ceiling. We get the growth from our young guys. 6 is kind of hard for me to say. I still think 7 to 10. I think we're going to still be a playing team. Now, this is the other thing, though. Nothing says Toronto is going to stay in the 5th spot. nothing says Chicago is going to play. You know, like teams can implode, things can happen, right? We ran our team back. Well, we didn't. We brought in Kimba and Fournier, and I think that did change things a little bit. That top six can look different depending on how Cleveland plays, depending on how Atlanta plays, depending on how Brooklyn, you know, if that trade is. But I think the Knicks will be 7 through 10. And let me ask that to the chat as well. What do you think the floor ceiling is for this Knicks team if no changes are made? And most of us are saying playing territory, except for Tony Crow, who said 5. Tony, you see the Knicks if everything falls right. I don't even know if I really see Cleveland. Like if you ask me which would be the 6 best teams in the Eastern Conference, I think I would put Cleveland in the top 6.
Who you taking out?
Yeah.
You're probably taking out Toronto.
Probably taking out Toronto because Chicago was on a huge roll before that Lonzo Ball injury as well.
And I've heard he's not ready to come back yet. I mean, granted, he's still got time, but it's been a concern of you know, the timeline should have been over already. Like he should have been ready to you know, start participating, and they're saying he's not. So, and he may be that glue. He may be that difference maker. That, you know what I mean? In that particular roster, Cleveland, as well as they are, and as well as they play, I mean,
they're young.
They got to prove it they got to do it again. You know what I mean? Look at us 2 years ago, and then the next year. Look at Atlanta 2 years ago, and then the next year. So I think they haven't solidified themselves as a continuous threat, a constant threat. Can they be there? Absolutely, but they could also you know, fall off a cliff and have to retool and refigure it out. So I'm not certain with them. Who else we got up here?
That's a good point. So we would agree, and Tony, I'm gonna get right back to you, that top 4 is pretty much solidified. 5 and 6 could make be a little bit up for grabs, but that's not to say it's going to be the Knicks. It could be the Knicks. It could be any one of these other teams that finish 5 or 6.
And I would even go as far as to say top 3, because even in Philly, it's no guarantee.
That they're not going to finish in, that they're going to be a playing team.
You don't hear me out. And Embiid had a great year last year. Didn't, like, he might have played the most games ever, right, in his career. There's no telling if that is sustainable. You know what I mean? Like
that's for anybody, barring injury, though.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at that as you know, a point where we don't know what's, and I'm not wishing it on him. Obviously, I hope he plays 82 games. But even with Harden's progression, we don't know if he's even going to be who he's been throughout his career. Father Time doesn't hit everybody at the same time, you know, or at the same age. You know, some people get hit with it a little bit sooner. I don't know if that's the case with Harden. Maybe it's just a hamstring and he has to fully recover from it. But the hamstring is also a lingering injury that seems to reoccur. I'm just saying, with Philly, we don't know for sure.
You don't know.
I don't know. I mean,
because I can't agree with that take, Tony. For real, I don't think Philly is dropping out at all out of the top 4. I really don't think so.
I think
with all that money they spending on those 3 guys, especially Harris.
Money don't.
Harris.
Money.
No, but I understand what you're saying, but they expect to be in the playoffs every year to compete for a championship with that type of roster.
I'm not. I don't feel that way. They feel like they top 2 teams, the best team.
But playing. Come on, TC.
I never said play in. I said they could slide out of the top 4. That's all I'm saying.
What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that they're going to be number 4. What I'm saying is, we all agree those top 4 teams will be in the playoffs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
Right.
Yeah.
and 2 teams are up for grabs. The 5th and 6th seed is up for grabs. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Two slots is up for grabs. Because I can't see Philly being a play-in team.
I disagree wholeheartedly. Like you said, Chicago was on a tear before the injuries. They were the number 1 seed for most of the first half of the season.
They were.
So
Yeah, he was.
I'm expecting the Bulls to give me a lot of what they gave me the first half of last season. And Toronto, I mean, they got this young guy, Scotty Barnes, who's balling the way we wish RJ Barrett was balling. One of the top players in minutes played. I mean, you got a vet like, Van Bleep. You still got Siakam. They got OG. I mean,
Trent.
they got all of their key,
Trent.
most important players are all coming back. I mean, why would they be worse than they were this year?
Probably because they bench.
And because things happen.
Because things change. I mean,
Things change.
Here we are trying to have the most optimistic take for the Knicks, but in having the most optimistic take for the Knicks, we're thinking about the most negative things happening for the other teams.
No doubt about it. But
How
this
can
is
we do
what
that?
this is what I will say. You could probably look at the standings for every regular season, and the next year somebody's dropped out.
Always.
Somebody's
It's always
dropped.
like that.
But this whole playing thing is new. We're talking about only the top 6 versus the top 8 from before. So if we were talking about the top 8, then we could say, all right, well, the bottom 8, Nets is likely possibly to be out of that. Hornets are likely out to be out of that. And now you're fighting with the Hawks and the Cavaliers and maybe the Raptors for the 7 and 8 seeds. Then that would be the old school. But now with the play-in, it's different. The top 6 teams, listen, if the Knicks are sniffing the top 6, I'm ecstatic. Mitchell or no Mitchell, I'm ecstatic.
Right.
Facts.
So most of us are saying 7 through 10, except for Tone. Let me just
Tone got that exotic.
No. I'm gonna take some heat for Tone too. I said I agree with Tone at 5 too.
Oh, you said
Oh, wow.
The ceiling.
playoffs.
Thank you for speaking up. I wasn't gonna put you on blast. I wasn't gonna put you on blast. I was gonna own it. But I
But the panel still wins though, 3-2.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. Fine.
Sherwin says, shout out to Sherwin, always rocking with us. Cleveland, Toronto, Washington, Charlotte, Cleveland again. So he really likes Cleveland. Are clearly better than the Knicks. I don't know
Cleveland
about
Washington.
Clearly,
Yes, sir.
Charlotte without Bridges.
Charlotte without
I'm not
Bridges.
sure.
Washington being Washington, no way.
Charlotte without Bridges is the exact case and scenario of like what it was the other year when the Knicks got the 4th seed. When it was like anything that could happen, the stars, the moon, the universe was all aligned that year. Every team that got players could get hurt. They got hurt. They missed games. They were out when they played the Knicks, the top tier teams. Everything worked out perfectly that year. Like it was unbelievable. So yeah, you got a guy like Bridges goes down. Maybe Trae Young is, in a contract dispute, or him and Murray stop getting along. Who knows? I mean, it'd have to be something totally unexpected.
Right. So most of us are saying 7 through 10. I'm gonna let Mark in because now we're gonna move. So basically, this team,
Washington,
and I'm gonna be the devil's what is it?
Advocate.
Devil's advocate, or as someone said in my video timeline, here go negative Nancy. So so
Don't pay them no mind, Queen.
we're saying the Knicks are 7 through 10, but yet we don't want to change this roster for
Ain't it
Donovan.
crazy? It's crazy, right?
Now, this is not for those who have issues with the draft compensation, but for those who have issues with the young guys. The Knicks are a playing team at our best, right? Except for Tony and Jarrell, who said at our best we're in the top 6. I think at our best, I think we 7. Unless Brunson and Randall and RJ play lights out, I don't see us reaching top 6. Unless they play lights out. If they play lights out, it's possible. You know, it's definitely possible. But we need some moderators in here.
Yo, this guy said Washington. I just want to point out Washington's starting lineup: a rookie Johnny Davis, Bradley Beal, Will Barton, Kyle Kuzma, and Porzingis. That team's better than the Knicks. Okay, that guy's spoken the super exotic. You got to chill like EPMD. Who was that? He got to chill like EPMD.
Showing out.
Oh man.
I'm doing some moderating at the same time that
we definitely hitting it big time because we getting spammed by adult dating sites. So,
right.
So we hitting it big time, y'all. Make sure y'all like and subscribe.
Right. So the Knicks, as presently constructed, is a play-in team for all of those who don't want to give up what it takes to get Donovan Mitchell. The Knicks are a play-in team, other than Tony and Jarrell, who say they can be a playoff team. I'm bringing in.
Is this the segue?
We're about to segue. I'm gonna let Mark give his take though, and then we're gonna segue into what the floor and ceiling of the Knicks if we were to trade for Donovan Mitchell. So let me just.
Can't wait. I'm going.
How are you, Mark?
What's going on, Bitcoin?
I'm good. How you doing? I'm good.
Yo, Tony, I love you, but my ears on that last take was just bleeding, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro.
All right. So give your take on if we don't make any changes.
Zero change.
What's your floor for this team and what's your ceiling? I know with the ceiling, things would have to break right. If things broke a certain way, what would your ceiling be?
If things broke, we would play between 5 and 6 because I think those 4 teams ain't going nowhere. And Toronto, between 5 and 6, because we will be fighting with Toronto because Toronto is a team that's just going to be there off a straight effort.
Bam, I got to jump in and ask you, bro. Chicago Bulls is a 6th seed. They was the number 1 seed most of the whole season. You think the Knicks are jumping over the Chicago Bulls coming back to the 6th team?
No, she's saying if everything hits on a ceiling, like if everything hits on a cylinder, and I'm projecting what my players are on this floor and all together and how they will perform at their semi highest peak, they'll be right there between the Bulls, 5-6. Bulls is a 5-6 team. I think the Bulls is a better team than us just because they have the two to go to guys. They can count on every night to win games for them because it's kind of different with us. Like I said, everything would have to hit on the way the chat is dreaming, that we could be a good team, but we still have an identity crisis at this point. We're bringing in a guard that needs the ball also. We got to see how him and Julius, go together. RJ got to step up. The young guys, you want them to improve. I think they're going to improve because I think they improved every year in their little ways. But again, if things just hit right, I think we're going to be, if everything hit right, between 5 and 6. Now, if you're talking about from going in, seeing what everything is, how I look at it, the first 20 games will always tell you what our team is, what habits they give, what for us to even look like they could be a play-in team. Just like I said last year.
What's the floor?
So the floor is not even a play-in team?
The floor could be a playing team, Queen. I don't want to say that. The floor
exactly what I said.
It could be a playing team. But personally, Randall has to play at a level for it to be a playing team. If it
does, so you can see us not even making the play-in next season.
Yeah, because he's an important piece to our cog. Because if you're telling me I'm going to rely on Jalen Brunson for 82 games, that ain't happening. That's just not happening.
Yeah,
that's not happening. So you're expecting RJ to be a consistent player. He's still got a long ways to doing that because he has to be very, very consistent for me to even, say he could. if Randall's not having a good, good couple of games, that RJ could pick up the tabs. Everything, our team is just, we just have to wait and see because everybody got question marks behind them. Jalen Brunson have to play a certain way for him to be successful.
Right.
Everybody say he's an off-ball guard. No, he's not. No, he's not. For him to be successful, for you to see Jalen Brunson like you've seen in the playoffs, he needs the ball. That's why when Luka was off the floor, he was able to cook because he needed the ball. You got to watch it.
But he can still play off the ball more. It's not like he's useless off the ball.
No, I'm not saying that. But
I get you that he's at his best.
Not at his peak level that people
I get that.
him to be. That's what I'm saying. Differently. If you want to see a 14 points, 5 assists, Jalen Brunson, you might get that or a little tad better. Now, the defense is going to be a problem with us. Tell you the truth. The defense is going to be a problem. Mitch got a question mark. Is he going to come back better? That's a question mark. You about to pay him, so he has to come at a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say RJ, he has to. Listen, I can't have these half seasons where he's bad and then the half season where he turn out to be good. No. Mm-hmm. No, that can't happen if you're expecting to get paid and you're expecting to be part of a team. You get what I'm saying? So he has to be consistent. He has to give me 60 games of good RJ Barrett. And the rest, 20 games, you can have bad games. That's cool. But 60 games, I have to see a consistent RJ Barrett. That's a fact. I don't want to see these, okay, he puts up 20 points and it's 7 out of 20 shots. No. So for us to be good, Randall has to play at a certain level. As I always say, he has to be smarter on the court. I don't care about your numbers. With him, I don't care. He has to play a certain way. He has to play in a team style. If he can't do that, then our success rate is going to be very, very iffy. And we can't rely on Jalen Brunson like we're going to rely on Luka Doncic or something like that.
No, he's not that. I think everybody knows that.
Yeah.
All right. So you're saying we may not. So your floor could be not even making the playoffs unless Randall.
He has to play at a level. Yeah, because
he's at a certain. Wow.
So who do you have with that last? Who do you have from 7 to 10 out of those teams?
Yeah, let me bring it. Let me bring it up. Let me bring it up again. Here you go. Can you see it?
Okay, we could be Charlotte 10, because I think Charlotte's out of here, right? But if you look at the Wizards, Indiana, I think those two teams are very feisty. So I think Cleveland is going to be there just because they have a sense of what they want to do in their game plan. If you watch how they play. Atlanta Hawks, I think adding Javante Murray is going to help them a lot. So I think we're going to be between 7 and 8. If everything stay. If Kevin Durant don't go, if he's still in Brooklyn, Brooklyn's going to be top 4, top 5. So once those guys get back, Chicago.
You mean if they don't trade, then that. So you're saying if they don't trade Durant,
yeah,
Brooklyn, they run it back. I agree.
Yeah,
Brooklyn could be in the top in the top.
People don't understand when they went through injuries, they was a top team. People forget about that. They was a top team. They just got hit in so many ways, and the only team, the Bulls. I like the Bulls because, like I said, they got 2 scorers that can carry you for a season. Injuries is a problem with them, so we have to monitor them. So, like I said, the Knicks, if they're hitting on a good ceiling, if you know what I look at it, Queen? When they start winning games in a row, then that's when I'll feel okay with our team. We can't be winning one game, then lose one game, lose one game. We have to hit winning streaks, 2-3 game winning streaks to be considered as a playoff team. But if we're playing one loss, one win, we're going to be a playing team fighting just like how everyone's fighting down there.
All right, let me just read these super chats. Shout out to Paris Duggar. Knicks are a playing team with Mitchell and no bench. We'll talk more about that. Appreciate the super chat. And Kerry Cooper, appreciate the super chat. And shout out to Harlem girl who said, and I agree, the Knicks have a lot of ifs, a lot of question marks coming into this season. You know, if Randall returns to form, if RJ takes the next step, if our young guys, you know, get better, if Brunson can play in this offense, you know, there are a lot of unknowns. It's not like, you know, sometimes when you have your identity, even if you bring in another team, you know who you are, you know your identity is just more about fit.
Yeah.
For us, it's more about, are these players going to raise their level of play? We're going to need that in order to finish 7 through 10. So
I think when you talk about ceilings, it's always ifs. Like when you talk about a draft guy, you talk about this ceiling. Right. That's ifs. When you talk about a team,
we got more ifs. We you know,
the teams 1 through 6 have shown you and proved it to you. The only ifs that those teams have is if they have injuries, they won't be as good as they've already shown you that they are.
And you already seen their ceilings. You already seen how good their ceilings are. So it's like there's no ifs about those teams.
But Mark, that's exactly why the talk of putting the Knicks anywhere higher than 7 to me is not
crazy.
even.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy because
that's asking a lot.
The only reason why I bring up Julius Randle, I'm not trying to get on him, is because he's
the most talented one.
Not even that, the ball goes into his hands majority of the time. So if you're a high usage player, that means that the team success predicates on what that player productivity is on that floor and how the team operates. Simple as that.
Right. All right. Let's move on. Let me get it back. Let's move on to the floor and ceiling of this team with Donovan Mitchell. Just say the Knicks are able to make this trade, and let's not talk about draft picks. So I guess we have to talk about, hypothetically, right, who would go in terms of players in order to be able to really, let's just pick 3.
So you're gonna make the deal. We're not gonna argue and fight what the deal is. The deal is the deal.
Right.
Just give us the deal. We're gonna go with the deal.
Right.
So why don't we just consensus say it's the biggest package? It's the eight picks, and let's say
for this we don't even need to worry about the picks. It's really the players.
Well, let's say
the players.
Let's say it's 3 of them.
Let's say it's 3, right? Which 3 we want to agree? I say Grimes, OB, and IQ. Was there any other?
It's gonna be the players with the less with controllable deals.
It has to be in the deal.
No money. He's not doing that.
Right, and we got to pick one. We got to pick one vet. So who we picking? Are we picking Fournier? We picking Fournier. All right.
And Queen, can I say one thing before we go to this topic? I think we need to send is 24. I think it's 24 million or something like that. We need to send back
24.
So just to put that in context when we're talking about this.
All right. Okay. So Donovan Mitchell is on the team now.
Okay.
Now we're talking floor and ceiling, and obviously we're gonna have to fill out those roster spots with other people that's not on the Knicks, right? Yeah. I got to keep bringing that up so people can know there's other people outside of the Knicks that we can fill those roster spots with, and that's what we're gonna have to do. All right. So now let's have the same conversation over again. You know, Donovan Mitchell is on this team, so we're talking about Brunson at the 1. Donovan at the 2, RJ at the 3, Randall at the 4, Mitch at the. This is a clunky team.
Go ahead, Queen.
You know, as it's a clunky team as far as Caller, give us a minute. As far as shooting is concerned, as far as space is concerned, that's a clunky. It's a clunky team. Especially if they don't trade Randall, and that's what we going in with. All right. That being said, who do we have on our bench? We got Rose on our bench. We got Cam on the bench. We still got Hartenstein on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
We got we didn't give up
Melo.
We didn't give up Grimes. I think they want Grimes.
No, they want Grimes in that deal.
So we're gonna give them. Because who did I say? I said OBIQ. Did I say Grimes?
Yeah, you said OB Grimes.
Okay, I did. Okay.
Wait, hold on.
No. You said OB.
Mhm.
You said Fournier, IQ, and Grimes, not Cam.
That's too much money, though.
Right.
That's
Wait,
too
so
much money.
they
right
got
there.
IQ, Grimes, and Obi?
I'm going. I'm
Okay,
going
I'm just
Fournier.
asking. Yeah. I'm just
Yeah,
asking.
this is likely what they're trying to do.
Yeah, that's cool.
Hypothetical, just for this exercise of floor and ceiling. But I hear what you're saying, Stafford, that's more than 24.
Yeah.
Well, IQ is making about 2 something. OB is making 5,
So,
that's 7. And
so Queen, I would say Cam, because Cam is making 6.
And just
Cam is
because,
making 6.
just
So I'll
because,
say Fournier and Cam will make up that money right there.
but they don't want that. So
just-
that's what I'm saying. We for the
and just-
sake of this, this is just an exercise.
and Stafford, 24 million is the minimum of what we have.
Right,
to
you
give
can
back.
send back more.
Hold on, Stephanie. You could throw Derrick Rose in that contract because his deal is up 14.5.
We can.
We know that.
They
We know
don't.
that.
I don't think
They don't
we're
want
trying to figure out what they said they want
Yeah.
just for the purpose of this exercise. That's
Okay,
it. You're
okay.
right. We can send Cam. So on that bench, you're right. We got Rose, we got Cam, we got Hartenstein,
Sims.
Sims. Who else is Tony signed Melo.
I'm about to say that's it.
Melo is on
You
Melo
have to
is
ask
on the
people.
team. And who else is on the team? That's
Deuce.
You got
Duke
Hunt,
is on the team.
Hunt.
And DJ Shuttle has signed Hunt to the regular.
I like him.
So
I mean, you don't got nobody. You got to sign him.
listen, this is not sounding too bad. I'm liking this exercise. This is not sounding too bad.
Until they sign Melo, right, Tony?
That's right.
I don't know, because the other players still exist. Like, we could still, they don't have to be in our farm system in order for them to be on our roster. We can find somebody else. It does not have to be Hunt to be on the roster.
Well,
Okay,
well,
He's on a
well,
two-way. He's on a two-way.
Right.
anything else? Like, I think Melo's realistic. I think Hunt is realistic because he's in the farm system. I mean, we can play the game and throw in,
Yeah,
somebody
definitely.
else. But
Somebody start looking up free agents. I was looking them up earlier, but my memory, I forgot. Let's get to the caller while we're doing that. Caller, welcome to the Queen's Court. What's your name? Where you from?
This is PH calling out of Orlando, but I'm from
I
Brooklyn,
think the
New
caller
York.
is muted. Let me see if I can. Can I unmute him?
I am not muted. I'm right here. Can you hear me? I'm here.
I don't think I can. Wait. I think I can.
Hello, somebody.
Caller.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I'm still muted. You can still see the little slash on his little microphone. So
I'm here.
he got
Caller?
to unmute.
Caller, you
I'm
have
here.
to unmute if you can hear us.
Yeah, you got to
I'm
unmute yourself.
not muted. I'm not muted. Hello, somebody.
All right, we'll get back to the
Try
call.
one more. Try.
All right, we've made the trade for
Ah.
Donovan Mitchell. Obi is no longer on the team.
Hello?
IQ is no longer on the team. Grimes is no
Can you hear
longer
me?
on the team, and Fournier is no longer on the team. What is the floor and ceiling of this team? Same question. DJ
Okay.
Shuttle would like to go first.
I feel like it doesn't really change a whole lot,
Yeah, I don't.
which is part
I
of
know.
my
I don't know why
resistance
they-
of giving 100 million draft picks to do this deal.
Mhm.
But that's a sidebar. We're not talking about that.
Right.
I think that maybe it goes up to a 6 seed, but I mean, I still don't see this team, like when I pair this team up against the Hawks, against the Bulls, against the Raptors. I mean, like, the team is right there with those teams, not exceeding those teams, certainly not putting them in the class with the Heat, the Celtics, or the Bucks.
Even
Any
Brooklyn.
given day, Brooklyn's too much of a question mark right now. I can't even put Brooklyn in the equation right now. So I'd say ceiling 6, floor 8.
Okay, that's better though. 6 to 8.
The only thing I like about this team is that this is more of a Tibbs type team where it's more top heavy with the best players. So we don't got to have all those talk about you got to play the young guys off the bench. You know what I'm saying? And the one thing that could be the caveat to make the team less clunky, and I know it's not a popular method when you sign people to new contracts. My expectation is Hardenstein is going to outplay Mitchell.
Yes.
And he's going to be getting just as many minutes. The minutes are probably an even split, and he'll likely be finishing games. So when it matters most and you really need buckets, he's going to be in there for to get busy. So 6 and 8.
But that's still higher. That's still higher.
Well, I had 7 and 10 before, so I'm putting them up one notch. And I put it in.
But the floor was 10 and moved to 8. And the ceiling is a playoff team. I think that's significant. Now somebody is saying, shout out to Paris Duggar, who said they could hear the caller can be heard by us. Appreciate the super chat, Paris Duggar. But yeah,
no, the caller could be heard by them, not us.
Right. So I'm not sure how
she was reading it, Mark.
Yeah. I was reading the super chat. I'm not quite sure how to fix that.
Can you hear me now?
So
sorry, caller.
Yeah, it's saying the mute is on, and no matter what I do, I can't take it off.
Yeah, they from Queens.
Yeah, it's can't unmute your guests because they chose to mute themselves. So that's it.
He's unmuted now.
Yeah, there you go. Caller,
okay.
You there?
All right.
We good?
Caller, you on the air? What's your name and where you're from?
This is PH calling out of Orlando, Florida, from Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, he is unmuted, but he's not saying anything. So.
Before we move on to Tony, I will say this. We're more optimistic with our young guys on the team. So it's hard for me to believe that our ceiling doesn't rise when you add someone of Donovan Mitchell's production, taking away those young guys and still replacing them with NBA type players. Because remember, I think a lot of us think that we're going to take them away and not replace them, or replace them with terrible players, or replace them with players that can't play. Right? So on that second team already, you still have Cam. If you don't want Rose, you can get Patrick Beverly in a separate trade. He couldn't come in this package, but you can do a separate trade for him. You could do a separate trade for a point guard if you don't really believe in Rose. You got Cam, you got Sims, you got Hartenstein. It's not looking. All I'm saying is that it's not looking too bad on paper, and you can still go out and upgrade the team.
It's going to be a adjustment period with the team. That's what it's going to be.
It's going to be and there's chemistry issues. But I got to be honest. When I saw Chicago on paper last season, I thought that team wouldn't click either. They didn't seem to be a good fit on paper. But it worked out. Yeah.
But the reason why it worked is because the playing style that they was able to play. You got guys that can run the floor. So it was an easily fit because your best
pace though. They were a high-paced team, Chicago.
Yes, they was.
They were? Okay.
Yes, they was.
All right. We're gonna get back to you, Mark. Yeah. Tony, you wanted to say something about floor and ceiling?
My floor moves up from 10 to 8, and my ceiling moves up from 6 to 4.
Wow.
Two spots each.
I was about to say, I have like. Yeah,
so that means they finishing ahead of one of those top 4 teams. Chirella's like, yeah.
Right. I mean, because you say like if Donovan Mitchell's on this team, obviously, like me and Tone actually share the same, ideas when it came to floor and ceiling. So yes, it will be higher, and it will have to be. Unless you actually think the younger players are better than getting Donovan Mitchell. So if his ceiling was 5, it has to be 4. Like it would have to be.
Oh, can I just pull it up? Can I just pull it up one more time? So we're saying that Miami, Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, who we're projecting to finish the same way. I know Tony said that there's no guarantee Philly finishes in the top 4, but let's just say for argument's sake they do. You're saying we put Donovan Mitchell on this team.
No.
This is what I would say.
No.
Everything would have to break right.
Julius Randle have to be an all-star. Like literally.
Yeah.
He would have to be an all-star. Like I understand Donovan Mitchell's good, but he had Gobert behind him, bro. Gobert, he's very good at what
but you don't think
we got a guy named Mitchell Robinson.
He's not him. He's not him. Please.
Hey, and I'm gonna keep saying this. Anytime I say a ceiling, I'm banking on the what ifs. So that's the way I look at it.
Right.
That's already baked in when you say the ceiling. That Randall is at his peak. The team gels, chemistry. That's true. That basically things have to break right. Brunson found his way.
So if we talk about peak, right? If we're talking about peak levels of the Knicks, I'm looking at peak levels of Philly, peak levels of Bucks, peak levels of the Celtics, and peak levels of the Heat. Knicks are nowhere near those teams on their highest totem pole. That's why it's like hard to not agree with that at all. I would say.
Okay, where's your ceiling? Where's your ceiling?
I would say five or six. We'll be a playoff team. Like we'll be in the playoffs. We're in it.
That's your ceiling.
I'm about to say that's the same as it was before.
Exactly.
No, but you're
exactly.
Saying, no.
His ceiling wasn't even. His ceiling was the play in.
No, it was not.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was, bro.
When Mark came on here, that's why me and Tone looked like that. Because when Mark came on here, he said he didn't like Tone's take, but then he agreed with him when it came to the ceiling.
No.
He said 5 or 6.
5 or 6. That's what I said. But he has them. He has like when you say these top 4 teams, like leave them out. Like leave them out for argument purposes.
Okay.
Peak level Knicks is nowhere near those teams. Please.
Okay, Mark. But so basically you're saying with Donovan Mitchell, playoff team, what's the floor? What's the floor? Like if we don't gel.
If we don't gel, it's going to be playing. It's going to be playing because again, these teams are competitive. Like when you're talking about Atlanta Hawks, Cleveland, Chicago, and Toronto, those teams are competitive as hell.
Can you give us a seeding so we know?
7 to 10. 7 to 10. If we're not
floor.
If we're not gelling, 7 to 10. We're in the competing stage. That's it.
But I'm
okay with it.
All I'm saying is that's an upgrade over last season, and that's an upgrade over not making the trade. We're playing team with Mitchell, and we are a play-in team if the team doesn't gel. And the reason why I like that is because I see Mitchell as just the first step.
He's just the first step
just the first step. So my expectation is not that we're going to trade for Mitchell and become contenders.
No,
that's not my expectation. My expectation is that's the first step. We still have some assets left.
We're competitive now. Like you could say that. Like we're competitive. Like we ain't gonna be. There's times where we're not gonna look sorry. Like literally. So.
Right. And if there's an injury or what have you, we might be able to take it. We might be able to take advantage.
Take a hit. We could take a hit. As long as Donovan Mitchell stay healthy, we can take a hit to somebody. Without Donovan Mitchell, we can't take no hits. Everything got to be gone good.
Right. Staffer, and then I'll get to, Sherwin and maybe others are talking about our defense won't be as good. So do you think that affects our ceiling?
I'm gonna move up 2 steps also too from the floor and go to 8 with Donovan. And I think our ceiling, I gotta go with one step up to at 6. Mm-hmm. So that's my ceiling right there. And as far as 8 to 6, 6 to 8. And as far as defense, look, Tibbs is a defensive coach. And I think mostly with the Knicks, we play team defense. So we always got to go out and help. Excuse me, on defense. When it comes to Tibbs' system running it.
Mhm.
And another thing, Jalen Brunson, he's a tough guy. He has heart, so I don't think it's gonna be that easy just to get around him like that. He's gonna play with confidence, and he's definitely gonna bring the defensive intensity to it. So I don't think our defense is gonna be that bad, bro. We was 11 last year with Fournier. 11 with Fournier at the guard spot. So just because we bringing in Donovan or and Jalen Brunson at the same time, defense is gonna be bad. Now I have to disagree with that. We might be even in the top 10 in defense. So that's how I'm looking at it as far as the defense, Queen.
What I will say about the defense and Donovan Mitchell's defense, but I just want to shout out to Kevin Taylor. If you listen to this channel, you know that I am a Randall supporter. I take a lot of heat for that. I am a Randall supporter, but at the end of the day, it's about the Knicks getting better. And if 2 years down the line, we got to flip Randall because another star becomes available to put with Donovan Mitchell, you got to do it.
Randall ain't no star, so he will trade it for anyone that's better than him.
You have to do it. It's about the name on the front, not the name on the back. And with that, I lost my point, of course. But
the defense.
Oh yeah, the defense. Listen, just because Donovan Mitchell hasn't played great defense doesn't mean he can't.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean he can't. I agree that there will still be a disadvantage because of his height.
Small.
Right. I get it. But we've seen small players. Yeah, but he's strong too, though. He's 6'1", 215. So it's and Brunson as well. These are not, pushover guys as well. So I still think, and I've seen short, stocky guards be able to hold their own and defend. And there's some guys you're just not going to be able to do anything with, no matter what.
Like with those two, it's more going to be about
the switching.
Not even that. They like the offensive players could just easily score over and top of them. That's the disadvantage. So it's
right.
Again,
you got a 6'10" wingspan now.
Yeah,
right.
11 on defense last year did not look like that because again, teams scored over 105 points on us. That's not good defense. Our defense was not good last year for it to be 11.
Well, we were still top 11, Mark.
We still 11
with Fournier.
Okay,
with Fournier.
Steph Curry.
We don't like Fournier.
No.
On this.
Steph Curry shot 39% from 3. That was people saying that was a bad season, but you still think he's going to shoot at least 43%. Just because you're 11, that don't mean you look like that. Knicks defense.
But we're talking about Steph Curry, man, one of the greatest 3-point shooters in the league, bro.
I'm just talking about
he's shooting from the top of the key. So I understand where he's coming from with the whole Steph Curry thing, but we still held our own, bro.
I think Donovan
Mitchell.
I think Donovan Mitchell is a better defender than Evan Fournier.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. We might even be in the top 10, Mark.
Yeah.
And I do believe Jalen Brunson is a better defensive point guard than Kemba Walker.
Oh yeah, by far. Yeah.
So it's kind of like, well, if we were 11th last year, I'm not saying that we're gonna, have leaps and bounds when it comes to defense and stuff, but I think we'll be fine.
But Mark, what are you giving primacy to, the eye test or what the stats are saying?
It's more about the eye test stuff with me when I see how the Knicks play because it's with Tibbs' defense, he does a lot of help. He does a lot of doubling, helping. So that gives up open threes to teams, which was happening to us last year. So if Tibbs don't correct that and stop doubling people that you don't need to double because it happens so frequently. You got to understand something. Our backline defense is the most important in that system. If Randall ain't playing out at a high defensive level, Mitch is gonna have to clean up a lot, and that's why Mitch looked as bad because he had to clean up a lot of what Randall had to do. Our team was not playing on the string, and all Tibbs' team on defense they play on the string. So if that's not happening, our defense is gonna be Swiss cheese.
I would say that I think Randall should and would be a better defender this year than he was last year.
Well,
He
I
would
got
have
to
to
see
be.
before.
One, because he's in better shape,
Right.
and two, he's not going to be counted on
Yep.
to do as
much.
but he has to commit to it, and that's the thing. He has to commit to it.
One
True.
thing I noticed about Randall too, and I'm gonna say two parts here. One is Fournier is not a great one-on-one defender, but he always finds his way in the passing lane catching a steal. Though. Randall, conversely, is actually you get him going against Sabonis or somebody in B.
Right.
Yo, he plays real tough one-on-one, especially if they try to take him in the box. He plays aggressive one-on-one D, but he's not their best player as a team defender.
Yeah.
So, like the whole see the man, see the ball concept is not his greatest. If the guy has the ball in front of him,
Yeah.
he's more solid there.
Perfect.
But I do think that as you get a player like Brunson, hypothetically you get a player like Mitchell coming in on the team, RJ improved play, Hardesty coming in better offense. I think it's kind of like he'll be able to have more confidence in his team, and he'll share the ball better, and he'll have more energy to play harder on defense too. Hopefully,
Right. And shout out to I'm Just Nino for your comment, and it brings up a question. Mark, I know Mitch is not Gobert.
Go ahead.
But do you think he can help cover some of the deficiencies we're talking about with Donovan and Brunson? I mean, listen, well, two things. I'm not sure with Donovan and Brunson, the issue is that they're going to be turnstiles and guys are going to be getting in the key. I think they can move their feet fairly well. I think the issue is shooting over the top, but I'm interested in what you have to say, Mark, and what the rest of the
Okay, so with Mitchell, again, it's the style of defense and what we play and how we're all on a string. Now, if we're playing a correct way that Tiz want them to play, Mitchell can be like very demonstrative in the concept of the defense. He's not a good one-on, like if I'm going again, he's going against Bam and B, Giannis. You want him to hold his own to an extent, not like he's going to stop them, but he causes them problems from time to time. And last year, I was watching him like second string centers was giving him problems. And the thing with him is the pick and roll defense, he cannot guard it. And with teams, when they look at Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson and Mitchell Robinson that they can't guard, and Julius Randle, they're going to run pick and roll defense on us to death. So again, Mitchell could be good if the team is just understanding what Tiz want him to do because it works when it's on fire. But if people are not connected, it's not going to look good. That's my only problem. We just don't have guys that are the back line isn't smart enough. Just like how you said about Randall, he's good enough on a one-on-one, but when you talk about team watching where the ball goes, he loses them every time. And that leads to open layups, open corner shots. It just messes up everything. And then when he's not in the game, I can't trust him because he get mopey. And then the thing is with me, I gotta see it to feel confident about my team. I tell people, give me the first 20 games, and then I'll give you my analyst. Going in, I'm iffy, just like last year, I was iffy about it. This team is just, I can't trust them yet. Like I really want to trust them. I could trust certain players to do their job, but as a team collectively, it's going to be hard to say, yeah, we're going to go in and do this and do that. Let me see it.
All right. Jarrell, do you, and this is something somebody brought up in the chat, I believe it was Sherwin, that the ceilings that we are giving this team, the Knicks, with Donovan Mitchell should be lower because of the defense. So when you guys gave your ceiling, were you thinking about the defense as well?
No,
And if you are thinking about it, does anything change? Yes.
Yeah, I actually thought about the defense. I thought it would actually be better than it was last year for the points that I made earlier. When it comes to Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker as our starting backcourt, we have a better defensive backcourt than we did, whether it's offense or defense. So
even with the lack of size.
Right, even with the lack of size, they're still better defenders. So with that, And plus the ceiling means that everything breaks right, that I'm counting on Randall being Randall again. At least Randall what it was when we was in the 4th seed. Maybe not that high, maybe not an all-star, but still at
He
least
was
good enough.
amazing.
Right. It's still at least good enough in order to hold his own, just like Mark was saying. So that's what I would say. That's why our ceiling to me is higher, because of the defense. Like the defense would be better. The offense would be better also.
Right.
It's just our bench is what I'm worried about when it comes to that. But that's when it comes to us signing other players, because I don't think the players on our bench are on the roster right now.
Wow. Well, we'll get back to that. Stafford, any concerns? You said something, Tom? Any concerns with our defense, or do you think those two 6'1" guys at number 1 and number 2 position, any concerns about the defense, or you think it'll be better or worse than last season?
I said before, I think it's going to be way better, much better. I mean, as I said before, we was 11. You know what I mean? So who's to say we might be in the top 8 this year? So, as I said, Jalen got hot, Donovan got hot, Tibbs run a help defense. But I got to agree with Mark also, too. Sometimes when we help defense and we double too much, that's where the open threes comes in. So we have to have more better perimeter defensive play on that end also, too. So that's just the little concern I have right there. But otherwise, we should be good to go.
Okay. Anybody else have?
I'm concerned, but not too concerned that I wouldn't do the deal. I'm concerned. I'm concerned, and I'm worried about it. And I think the number could be lower than 11. But I also think the offense could be better. And I said it last week. I think we got to employ some of that Golden State, D'Antoni, fast break offense, fast break, fast pace. Let your offense be your defense type of defense. And this will be a team where they're gonna have to run and gun and outscore people, because this won't be a team that you can grind it out with.
So Shuttle.
Wait, somebody said they think the call is still really? Let me see.
Nah, that was before. Oh, I guess.
Caller? Hello? No.
I'm gonna say something about that running gun moving with pace, and I've been streaming this for 4 years. That ain't gonna happen. Just not going to happen, because the starting 5, Donovan plays a lot of half court. Go back and look at his game. It's a lot of half court in this game. Randall's half court. I always say if he played downhill, he's a much better, efficient player. Now with Brunson pushing the pace, these are all half court guys. They operate very well in a half court. They might get in trans break, but for them to be a fluent fast break team, to get easy points, it ain't happening. Unless Randall changes attitude about that, because he'll be a devastating player if he plays like that. That's why I value Obi to an extent, because it brings another dynamic to the team. The energy and people just move well when he's on the floor, and people understand. But with Randall, we have all half court guys. They ain't running. They ain't playing with that type of pace.
I don't see Tibbs doing that anyway. I think it's just the coaching style.
It ain't happening. Right. You got to have somebody that's going to force, like his game forces the team to play like that. We don't got those guys. We got a whole bunch of half-court guys. They need the ball to dribble to get to their spots and do what they do. So,
going back to the bench with Donovan, with a Donovan Mitchell trade, there's something to be said for a balanced team. Mm-hmm. Where you don't really have stars. This is kind of, I think, where we are without Donovan Mitchell, right? A more balanced team, first and second team with no stars. But I think we all agree that's more like a playing team, except for Jarrell and Tony, who think that's a
everything breaks right.
Ceiling.
Everything break right. But I think it happens a lot on these championship contending teams, where they're top heavy. and their bench is not that strong, and over time they're able to bring in some bench guys. But I don't think that's odd. I think that's relatively common for playoff championship teams to be top heavy, because even Chicago, when we looked at their bench,
Yeah, they're
Top
both
heavy.
good.
They bench was horrible.
Hello.
right,
Horrible.
so
Hey, how you doing,
I
man?
think
I'ma try to
and you
patch
kind, and I'm
through.
sure it'll be better this season, and that's just kind of how it is.
The phone
I don't think our
acting kinda
bench
funny.
would be
We'll
the
see if we can
worst
get you through.
if we
All right?
don't flip Cam for someone else, and we keep Cam. And I don't know about Rose. I got to be honest. If IQ goes in this trade, I
I'll be
would
glad.
feel more comfortable if we traded for someone else to play the backup point guard if IQ is not on this.
You know who I'm looking at, Steph? If I'm the Knicks, I'm looking at Eric Gordon.
You think he can play the one?
He a 2.
He's a 2, but if he's coming off the bench, he'll be devastating. Like, it's very serviceable.
As a bench player.
Yeah, as a bench player. So you're looking to replace. So if you're looking to get rid of certain guys off the
Eric
bench,
Gordon or Eric Bledsoe?
no,
Gordon.
Eric Gordon. I don't want to touch Bledsoe.
That's true.
Because Bledsoe is a free agent.
Right. And listen, you got to remember, Brunson is going to play like how that
He gonna
backup.
play a lot.
You're talking 12 to 16 minutes, and you're talking about somebody that hopefully has been through the paces, because with a team like this, you don't want to put somebody, for example, like a McBride back there, and as soon as you sit down, the lead is lost.
So, Steph, this is another dilemma that we have. Brunson, you got to understand something.
All right.
Brunson's going to play at least 30 to 35 minutes on every given night.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay?
Yep.
So that can be a problem for his productivity. But because we don't have like a safety valve of a player that could take that burden off of him, where he don't have to be such of a guy like that, like, you don't have to rely on him as much, Tibbs is going to have to trust his bench guys early. That's another stubbornness that he has. When guys should be put in sooner than later, this playing Randall 12 minutes the first quarter has to stop, because he gets tired at the 6 to 8 minute mark. And that takes the value of the team down on the floor. So Tibbs needs to watch what he does with Brunson.
I think we passed that mark. I think we passed that point though. I think that part's been made clear. Obi's proven himself a lot better in year 2 than he did in year 1. Obi was a little shaky in year 1. Let's not act like Obi was taking the world by storm in year 1 when
Obi
he played.
barely played, so you go through it as a
He barely deserved to play. He played what he earned.
That first season, no doubt.
That first season, yeah.
He played what he earned. Grimes got in there this year, his rookie year, and he got busy. And until he got hurt, the coach was playing no more. And that's it. You got to earn your minutes, B. It ain't nothing shorter than that. Obi played year 2. He got better, and now it's more trust. He got more confidence. Now he's ready. It don't matter if Obi get 10 minutes or 16 minutes. I feel confident Obi's gonna come in now and get busy.
Right.
And that's what your bench got to be ready for.
Right. That's true, because their minutes can be extended or shortened depending on what's going on in the game. Let me get to this caller. Caller, welcome to the Queen's Court. You're on the air. What's your name and where you're from?
Hey, I'm Nate. I'm from Fort Lauderdale.
How are you?
I'm fine. A couple of things I want to touch on. Number one, people in Knicks Nation, we got to understand, we can't copy another team's formula. We can't go around trying to be like other teams, because we don't have the personnel to do what those other teams do. You have to win the way we win. And I'm tired of chasing a Golden State model. We're playing positionless basketball. We're playing like the Cleveland model. We can't do that. We don't have the personnel to do that. We have to build it the way we build it. Stop trying to emulate other teams. That's why all of these teams fall apart. The Blazers fell apart. Washington Bullets fell apart. You cannot copy what Golden State does. We have to do it the way we do it. Number two, if the goal is not to win a championship, the goal is to be successful for the next 10 to 15 years. You're not going to do that if you give away all that draft capital. You're not.
Oh, I disagree with you on that. The goal is to win a
I'm going to
championship.
tell you why.
I disagree with that.
I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell
I
you
will
why.
give that up. Yeah,
I'm going to tell you why you're not going to be successful. If you give away that draft capital, right, you're stuck at a 4 seed. Brunson and Spider together are a 4 seed, no better. Right? So now you gave away 6 picks to get Spider. So if you want to take that next step forward, what's the price? 10 draft picks? 12?
But this is where. But this
Are you
is
trading that to
where.
Square Garden?
But listen,
Where's the next superstar asset going to come from?
The next superstar. It depends. You could flip Randall. You could flip RJ. You could flip Brunson. 2 years down the line.
You can't flip Randall now.
We're not talking about now. We're talking about, do you have enough assets left over to put a package together 2 years from now if a star becomes available? So
Okay,
you can't say because you gave up 6 draft picks, you're not going to have any draft capital to make a trade. I think that's why I talked about Knicks and bruises. It's not about what you're giving up. It's closely related, but it's about what you have left. I agree. You have to have something left to be able to continue to improve your team. But it's not about just being successful for 10 years, never winning a championship, just being competitive. I totally disagree with that.
When you got Donovan, you got to hit it.
You have to maintain a level of winning. Like I said, if you trade away those 6 draft picks, let's say 3 years down the road, Tatum becomes available. What's the price for Tatum? You're not going to have that. And I don't care if Randall becomes most improved player all over again. You think they're going to want Randall?
Wait, you can't sit and say, I'm not going to get a star today because I want to have assets for a star that's going to come 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line. You can't do business like that.
Everybody does business like that. That's successful business. You have
We're
to
not
think
talking
10,
about
20
giving
years in the
every
future.
single asset. We're not talking about giving every single asset. And the Knicks know that. The Knicks are not stupid enough to do that. You're going to have something left over.
Didn't say something left over. I'm saying what's the price? If you pay 6 for Spider now, what's the price of Jason Tatum 3 years from now? That's what I'm asking. What's the price?
I'm not sure what the price will be. But what I'm trying to say is I'm not going to stop I'm not going to not make a trade because 10 years from now or 4 years from now, I won't be able to make another one.
You have to.
No.
That's business. That's business. You have to plan.
We'll see.
4 years
I think one of the things that you're not thinking about, like if you it stops you from being able to make a plan, another move maybe immediately, right, in that aspect. But like the Queen is saying, if the next move is 2 years down the line, guess what? Now you're 2 years removed from some of these draft picks that you gave up, which means you're able to give more draft capital further down the line, which at that point will be closer. So
maybe RJ pops, and he may not be the best player in the draft, but again, he could be part of a package. Maybe by that time you can move off of Brunson.
Caller, I'm gonna say this to Caller. I understand what he's saying when it comes to the Donovan Mitchell. When you're giving up 6 Knicks unprotected picks,
it's not 6 unprotected picks. 4 unprotected picks from the Knicks. The other picks will come from the protected picks that the Knicks.
We can't even give up 6 unprotected.
No.
Give up 6 unprotected picks.
No, what I'm saying is if we're going to go get Donovan Mitchell, that is what Danny Ainge is looking for. That's why
it's not 6 unprotected.
Yeah, we can't do
4. The most we can do is 4 and 4.
Yeah, we can't
4 unprotected, 4 protected. And the only reason we can do that is because the 4
you cannot give 6 unprotected picks.
Can't give 6.
You can't trade more than is it 7 years?
I think. Oh yeah.
Right, more than 7 years out, and it's every other year.
Okay,
right.
So you know what I think is holding up this deal? The Knicks 2029. That is one of the unprotected picks that's holding up the deal.
Right.
Danny wants that. And when you look down the line, when we get Donovan Mitchell, it's in game mode because now with the Stars today, if things are not going well, they look to move. So we have to watch what we give to get
on
Donovan.
the back end.
Yeah, we have to watch what we give to get Donovan, because going down the line, we might end up back to square one, because we have to hope RJ become a level type player and Randall is still decent. So it's with this team, we have to be very, very careful when it comes to the Donovan Mitchell. And I like how Leon is playing it. Don't take the bluff, because Danny's gonna get what he wants. That's how he plays.
Right.
So Leon is
But
doing
let's
what
be
he needs
clear,
to do.
it's not 6 unprotected first round picks. That's not the
remember,
case. And those
Queen,
other
remember.
picks were picks that we picked up just in this draft.
Yeah, but nobody. Let me tell you something. Those picks ain't as good as people think they are.
That's the point
Yeah.
we're trying to make.
Yeah.
People are crying over the picks. Those protected picks.
Those
Some
are
of them may
18,
not
20.
even convey. If the Knicks make the playoffs, even our first round picks will probably be in the 20s.
Yeah.
You understand? So.
Hello?
But it's the 2029 Knicks pick that Leon don't want to give up, and that's in play. That's what Danny wants.
And I get that, because if this doesn't work out, if you even if you're back in the lottery 4 or 5 years from now, it's so far down, it's hard to project 2029.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, caller. You had your last point. Okay, I guess he said
it's.
Hey Queen, I'm gonna jump in the background. I gotta step out for a second. Hopefully you guys are still here when I get back. If not, shout out to the chat panel, The Blackest Time.
Salute,
I appreciate you.
His issue is just the haul.
Salute, TC.
This issue is just the haul for Donovan, because, like I said, he's like a fire. He's like someone you could put on the team, but then you have to bring in a bigger fish.
Hey, Coley,
bigger fish, and it's going to take more to get the bigger fish. So you don't want to give up what Danny's asking, what he's looking for Donovan.
Hello.
But keep in mind, other than those 4, those other ones are protected picks. We can't give more than 4 of our.
The Knicks got to be careful what the years of the unprotected ones are, because that can because as an organization, you still have to think down the line, because we don't have for sure players yet. It's easy if you had like two superstars on your team already, and then you can think down the line. It's like, I don't want these picks. I'm gonna just continue to bring in guys to fill up with these guys that they peak. So it's different. It's very much different.
Links Black, it's not that we're ignorant. It's just that, number one, where are we going to be picking in this draft? Where are we going to be picking in 2020?
11, 12. That's what we're going to be.
You know, though these draft picks are maybes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like we're guaranteed to get a blue chipper out of these draft picks. So that's why the front office get paid the big bucks. They know who the draft class is. Trust me. And they're asking themselves, am I going to give up this, somebody who's a proven commodity, a known commodity, who still has room to grow for a draft pick that may not become a blue chipper?
So, Steph, you said we have to, like, if we're giving our picks in the Donovan, it's 1 year after the other.
Right.
Every other year. What 2 years?
Okay, so they are looking for.
It can only be 4, and it can only be every other year. You can't.
Okay, so
unless
2029 is holding up the deal, and I like how Leon is playing it. Do not budge, because Danny's looking at the Knicks like, this organization ain't doing nothing. They ain't going nowhere. So I'm betting on those picks going to be very, very good. Because
in 2029, the later picks.
But not even that. Not even that. It's just like me. If I'm an outside fan, if I'm not a Knicks fan, and I'm looking at this organization, there's people out here that still think this team is a turmoil team. Anything can happen. So the way Danny's looking at it, it's like, yeah, this team could end up giving me a lottery pick. So that's how Danny's playing it. And when you're giving up 3 young players and 4 unprotected with 2 protected picks, that is a lot for Donovan when he's not like this guy who you could completely build around. Now, if it was like,
we don't know that though. But this is what I'm saying. Donovan Mitchell is not a finished product.
No, he's not. But he's not.
Hold up. Where was Steph Curry 5 years into his season? Where was Kevin Durant 5 years into his career? I mean, where was a lot of these players 5 years in? I think we're expecting, we're looking at those guys now after they've matured and been through the paces and been through these playoff wars and saw what it took and leveled up the next season, and comparing them to Mitchell, who he's in his 5th season. So
it's,
what I'm saying is that he's not a finished product.
No, I understand that, but you see, when Steph got to the Warriors, it's how they configure the team, right?
Everybody is not Steph. Right?
No.
Let's take Steph out. Everybody
no, he's out. Yeah, he's out.
All-time great.
No, but the thing is, like when you're building a team, right? So you have Steph and then you have Clay, and you see that they have 2 bona fide guys that they count on every night. So it's different when you could build a team around a set guy like that. Donovan, yeah, you could put pieces around him, but you also have else as probably better than him or at his level for you to say, okay, now we can go in and do this thing. So it gives you more confidence in doing the thing.
I'm confident. I'm confident that he's one player. You know, you got to have somebody. Clay, to me, is not. To me, Clay is not a number 1.
No, but he's a number 2 on every given night. He was reliable. That is a reliable all-star guy. He's a 5-year all-star guy.
Okay. But this is what I will say. Donovan Mitchell is an all-star, and he's been in the league 5 years. He made the all-star team 3 times in the Western Conference. You know what you're getting from Donovan Mitchell.
No, I do. I understand that. But the thing is, you can always go for it when you have 2 bona fide guys than when you have 1. So if Randall was like Klay Thompson in the form,
we still need somebody else. I'm with you on that.
Okay, so
we need somebody else.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. When you bring in, say if Randall could play consistent to a way where it's like it's adding to wins and it's more confident, then I say we can build the team around Donovan and bring more pieces in to both of the teams.
Why does it have to be dependent on Randall? Why can't it just hold on? Why can't it just be we got 1?
Yeah. Why can't we get 2 later?
Get another one at some point.
I understand that we're in play to get 2, but that don't mean we can get 2. So you also have to think that we still might not be in play for 2 because who's the 2 going to be?
We don't know. You position yourself. Right. We didn't know Donovan was going to come up. You position yourself. Listen, 2 years from now, if Jaylen Brown is a free agent, if he's pissed off with Boston because they're putting him in the trade and he becomes a free agent, I'm moving off of RJ.
Yeah, so no, I think next year he's a free agent also too.
Before we make a deal for 2, we got to make sure RJ plays at a level where team wants him. Like that all has to play in. So it's like, we're prepared to make a deal, but we gotta make sure our assets is as good as if a team wants him. Like, look at Danny. Danny can say, give me RJ Barrett in the deal. He doesn't want him because he don't want to feel like he don't want to pay him the max because he knows he's not that level of a player. So you have to look at that.
Well, I get it. The only thing I'm saying is, you like somebody said in the chart, Michael, did I get that right? He said, just Michael JM, you have to get 1 before you get 2.
I understand that. As a team like us, we gotta watch what we give up to get that 1. That's the little issue right here. Now, if you're gonna get the 1, like if it was Kevin Durant, you throw a boho and feel great about it because you know what that means. With Donovan,
I wouldn't feel that great. Well, for me, hold up. We're in the same situation, caller. Give me a minute. We're in the same situation. I'm not giving up a boatload for even Durant because I feel like he got 3 or 4 more years left, and this team will still need somebody else.
Hold on, Steph. But him as a player can land us a big fish.
But you would still have to have the assets, just like you need to have the assets with Donovan Mitchell. You would still need to have the assets.
You're right.
Because I think, and I could be wrong here, but I think players would want to play with Donovan Mitchell. I don't think he may not have the cachet Durant has. But
that's what I mean.
I don't think people are looking like,
no, he's not a bum. No, he's not a bum.
I'm going to play with that. Yeah, so you're going to have the assets either way. Caller, you on the air? What's your name and where you're from?
How you guys doing? How you doing, Steph? Tony?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. My name is RJ. Originally from Brooklyn, but I do reside currently in the Celtic Green area, Boston.
Sorry to hear that.
Mark, man, you killing me with your ideology, man. Since the time I've been listening this whole time. You reminded me of the classic traditional Knicks fan. I respect to protect their future, but how long are we gonna keep holding on to these what if picks that Steph is bringing up. You know what I'm saying? All my whole entire young life watching the NBA, watching our laughing stock Knicks, that you like to call us, on TV. We got to swing, brother. We got to swing. Donovan finished, like Steph said and Tony said. I think it was like a week ago I was watching, because I watch you guys at least once a week. They were pointing to that Donovan finished first, second, and third in his draft class. That's points, assists, and steals. Third. So he's 25. I mean, you can say congratulations. That's cool. But what are we getting with these picks? Just like Steph said, these are maybe. And if they do pop, and what is it? Every other year that Steph is saying that we get to select that top pick, it all depends if they're gonna pop, right? We know we getting with Donovan Mitchell.
Understandably,
I don't like the size. Yeah, I don't like the size.
I have to also think about my team
and Jalen, but we gotta swing, brother. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I'm saying I also got to think about my team and how unpredictable these stars if things don't go the right way. So I have to also protect myself. I have to also protect myself at the same time, even acquiring a player, because again, we can acquire stars, but if things are not going their way, they're gonna say, okay, my time here is up and I need to go. So
it's too long without any stars though. So we ain't trying to hear that right now.
No, hold on.
We gotta get somebody. We gotta get somebody.
I understand that. Shut up.
We're not trying to hear that no more. The caller's not trying to hear it. I'm not trying to hear it. The fans are not trying to hear that no more. We got all these picks. This is what we here for right now. This is like the caller said.
Right.
You gotta make something happen.
This is why the Knicks was stockpiling assets for this situation.
Exactly.
You think we were drafting these young guys to develop them for them to be the core of this team? No. They were drafting them to develop them, to get these draft picks so that they can trade them whenever a star became available. The moment has come.
And plus,
go ahead, caller. And then
Tibbs, I'm sorry, Steph. And plus, Tibbs, as we know, don't have the time or patience. He doesn't like to develop young players. It's either you have it or you don't. You know, he's not gonna let you walk in the gym with the backpack, right, with the school book each and every day. This is a man's league. This is a make or miss league. We don't have time for that. And I'm sorry, I don't know about you, Mark. You know, before the man upstairs put the 2 coins in my eyes, I would like to see the Knicks become a champion. I'm yet to see that.
Mark is sitting here talking all this shit, and he be the main one to come there. Fed up with the Knicks. Fed up with the roster.
It's not even that. But I'm also a business guy in real life, so I think of things in a business savvy way, where it's like, okay, I give up the damn house for this one player that is not like the top 5 type player. That's how I'm thinking. I'm like, if I'm going to give up a boatload for a said player, it's going to be a top 5 or a top 10 player. That's the difference.
Okay,
Donovan is good.
Hold on, real quick.
Question for you,
because he's arguably top 15, right? Top 15, top 20 in the league.
20.
But let's look at this. He's top 7 all time in playoff scoring. At his age, top 7 all time.
I don't care about that. You can score and lose.
Grow.
You can score and lose.
But that's the roster, though. That's not just on him, especially this past season.
So if you watch that Utah, number one, he gave up in that. So why are we talking about Donovan like he just didn't give up in that Utah series?
We're talking about his entire body of work. Everybody forgets about that 50 piece he dropped in the playoffs as well. We talk about his entire body of work.
I understand it. I understand it. But he's not a top 10 player for me to throw away my whole what I'm trying to do here.
We got assets left. I think this is what the fan base fails to realize. We're not getting every single thing. You still have draft picks.
Those 4 Knicks unprotected picks, the 2024 will be gone, right?
Who cares?
Hold on. It's the value in those.
What's the value if you bring Donovan Mitchell to this team?
Like you
Those
expect us to be bad then?
they're in the 20s. Those picks are in the 20s.
Like we already went through like what the floor and the ceiling was going to be, right? So if that's the case,
with Donovan Mitchell,
even with our floor, we're not in the lottery.
But I also didn't say I would give up the house for him. I never said that.
Can we stop talking house?
Yeah.
Because when you say house, I agree. You gotta have something left to for other trades.
So that's my point.
Okay, Mark, but if we give up 4 first rounders and these protected picks that may or may not convey because they have protections on them, we still will have picks and players left to make other deals. We're not giving up every draft pick we have and every player that we have. You're gonna still have something left. Shout out to Lloyd Banks, rocking with us in the chat. Appreciate you. He said he don't give a good God whatever about these. I'm paraphrasing these picks. I'm trying to find it. Oh, here it is.
And the album's fire.
It is.
I've been a Knicks fan for over 30 years. Blank them picks.
Punchline king in the building.
We know what we got in Spider, and he can lure another star.
Yeah, a lot of people keep talking about the picks, man. Like, for one, when we had the picks, we didn't do that well with them when we had picks. So we should get Donovan Mitchell, man.
I understand.
Those 4 picks isn't going to break us.
I would say this.
Yeah, we don't have a good history.
I would love to hold the picks at no more than 6 if possible, but I would say this. Even if you do the deal 6, 7, 8 picks, whatever it is, right? As we already did with our exercise, saying that if we make the trade, most likely we're a playoff team, at least a 6 seed or better, which means our draft pick is going to be in the late teens, early 20s, best case scenarios. So even if we don't have those picks, even if we don't have those picks, I mean, we're looking at being a playoff team for several seasons in a row at least. You know, you got Brunson, you got RJ, you got Mitchell, you got, Mitch.
Yeah,
we could still make trades. We could still make trades.
Caller, caller, you got anything else to say? I'm sorry. I was just rocking like he was on the panel.
I don't want to interrupt.
No,
I don't want to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
So what I was saying, sorry, Steph. So basically, Mark, what everyone is alluding to is you also got to look at how Knicks have been perceived for the last 25 to 30 years. No one likes James Dolan, bro. Okay? He's like an outcast out of all the owners in the league. They don't respect him. They think he's a clown. Isn't he the same guy that gave LeBron a CD when LeBron was a free agent before he went to Miami, when we should have been recruiting him? No one cares about. Yeah,
LeBron was never coming here
about the Knicks. No, I'm just giving you an example though. This is how much of a laughing stock the rest of the league is looking at the owner, and as it trickles down to the higher ups of the Knicks organization. So right now, Leon Rose and company, Scott Perry and them have to swing for this young kid. They have to.
I like Donovan. I like Donovan. What? Let me ask you a question. What are you willing to give up to go get him?
I agree with you what you're saying, giving up the house. I'm not in favor of giving up the house, but then it dawned on me one day, like,
the house, please.
Yeah, what's the house?
The house.
Okay, the house to me, and I'm thinking about Danny. Danny just got 5 first round.
Forget what he got. What's the house?
Hold on. If you watch how Danny operated from the years he was in the Celtics, he got overly compensated for what he threw out. Hold on.
Can we define the house? Can we define the house?
The house to me,
already know how.
Okay. The house to me is the 2029. That I'm not giving that away. I'm not.
So okay, all right. So for you, the house is the 2029 pick.
Yeah.
Who's going to be in the 2029 draft that you care about that pick that much?
Because I don't know if Donovan's going to be here for the foreseeable future. That's my point. Y'all act like once he gets here, he's a Knick lifer for years. I don't know that.
Okay, so you don't want to give up the 2029 pick. So if they keep that pick out and we give up 18 other picks, you okay, long as it's not the 2029.
Yeah, as long as it's not down the road, bro. Because I don't trust these athletes. I don't trust them. They don't have an attention span. So I trust them.
I don't trust you right now.
Well, you don't have to trust me. I know my team and how they operate, and they operate like trash.
I don't know what he's talking about right now. He had me for a little bit, but right now I feel like
you know what's so crazy?
This is Julius says Mark is living in fear.
Listen, this deal would have been done. This deal would have been done if Leon gets the 2029 pick. Leon is holding on to that because Leon. They said in the tabloids, he's not willing to go overboard himself.
I think he's worth 4 and 2 plays. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. But you talking about 6? That's too much.
That's my opinion. No, 4 and 2 plays.
Listen.
Why would you
if you're willing to give up the 4 to me, that's the big deal.
Right.
If you're willing to go as far as the 4 unprotected picks, those 2 protected picks, that to me,
they can have them.
I just don't get it.
It's not even that.
Take them.
It is
Take
6.
them.
Okay, 6 picks and 3 players. Wait.
Those 2 picks are protected picks,
and they would probably be second-round picks.
But when you look at the whole deal, you give up 3 players and 6 picks.
But that's because you're not breaking it down.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot because you're not breaking it down. Those 2 picks we didn't even have 3 months ago.
Right.
And those 3 players are not starters. They're not touching a starter on this roster.
None of them are starting. It's only 4 first-round picks, and the other 2 picks are probably going to be second-round picks.
All right, man. I'm going in the cage with my head cut off.
We're playing the percentages. They will most likely be in the 20s. Yes, you might be able to draft a star in the 20s. Donovan Mitchell is a star right now.
Yeah, he's a star, no doubt about it. He's a star
right now.
And I'm not stopping.
I'm not giving up a yes or a maybe.
Mute your mic.
Mute your mic. If I have an opportunity to get a yes, I'm not passing on that opportunity because I got to give up a maybe.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
Even if that person becomes a star, they're going to become a star 8 years from now, and you in the same position. You got to build a team around that player.
So, Steph, if we're going to bring Donovan in, right? So if he comes, we look at the starting roster and a couple of bench guys.
That's the hope. Now, not a couple of bench. We went through the bench. It didn't look as bad as
what. If you're talking about, but if
Mark, let me just see what Stafford. I mean, what DJ Shuttle Tony got to say. When we looked at the bench, did it look as bad as you thought it would look?
I had went through it already, so I knew what it was, and I mean, you know, I did a couple of different scenarios. If they take Grimes, if they don't take Grimes, if they take Cam or they don't take Cam, I look at Evan Fournier as the must go in the deal. I look at Rose as somebody we'd love to send instead of Fournier, but they don't want Rose. So Fournier is like the must go guy. And I look at Obi Toppin as somebody that they would probably love to have. And IQ. To me, that's really the big 3, and Grimes as a possible 4. So yeah, to me, it does leave the cupboard a little bit bare. But listen, I'm from the old school where the starters play and the bench is the bench. So as I said earlier, the whole talk about Tibbs, you got Obi, you got IQ, you got these players to play, you're not playing the players, you got to play. Now you don't got to worry about that because you ain't really got a whole lot of bench. You know, you got probably Rose or Deuce at the point. Maybe you have Grimes at the 2. Maybe
Deuce ain't ready, man.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's ready. I'm just saying that's what you got, though. You know what I mean?
Go out and get other people.
But before you do, though, this is what you have. You got Sims as the backup 4. You got hopefully Grimes or Hunt as the backup 3, or Tony's guy Melo coming back for the last hurrah. So you're not playing the bench a lot. You know what I mean? And that's cool. I'm cool with the bench playing 10 minutes or less a game because I got a starting squad that I feel real strong about. And that's what it is.
And that's
And
how most teams in the NBA operate.
So Queen.
Mhm.
So this is what's left in the free agent pool. I'm about to read it off right now.
Okay, let's let Tony
Okay,
say
go
what
ahead, Tom.
and then you can you don't need much in that. You just need to hold it down a little bit till the starters get back in. We ain't expecting you to push the lead up. That's gravy. Just don't give it up. Go ahead.
All you guys' points, and I just want to add that this front office has been able to create nothing out of something. They've been able to maneuver and move down spots, pick up assets, pick up draft picks, still get adequate guys at the positions they move down to. So I think even if we lose a couple of these guys, I have confidence that they're able to bring in some new guys, some new young guys, or maneuver in a way that we have some more draft capital down the road, because they've shown that they're capable of doing that. So it's not a and with the, again, if we got Cam still in there, we got Hartenstein still there, we could bring in the Melo. We're really talking about 2 rotational spots in the second unit that we need to fill, because Tibbs ain't playing more than 10 if we lucky, you know what I mean? So yes,
and our starting lineup is young. I would like to see some veterans in the second unit.
Yeah, I know Mark was gonna jump to the free agency, but
we have another caller too.
And buyout candidates. Let's not forget that. Once the dominoes start falling, there's gonna be guys that are bought out. There's gonna be guys that become available that are significant. The question is, are we able to grab those guys, or do they jump to one of the more solidified contenders?
The question is, how are we gonna look before half of the season? Is the issue with this team.
Right. Caller, you on the air. What's your name and where you're from?
It's me, Queen. It's Ray, aka Rayology. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
One day at a time, man. Salute to everybody that's there. I'm Jarrell, DJ Shuffle, Mark, Yo Block is Khan, Stephadon. Yo, man, it's good to see you. And, love the content, love what you guys are talking about. I just want to first say, man, salute to every Knicks fan that's out there, the ones that agree, disagree. It's all good. It's all love. We root for the same team. And we're all from theoretical GMs, aka fans. We all have a different perspective, and I totally understand, just that element of the conversation. I want to point out something real quick, and I'll let y'all rock. I understand elements to Mark's argument and sort of the frustration that you see amongst Knicks fans, where we're going back and forth in Civil War, fashion regarding, how many picks do you give up? How many, what player goes? Is it Grimes? Is it Obi? Is it IQ? And I had to take a step back and realize something, man. This is all a result of the mismanagement of this front office and this coach. And here's what I mean by that. These questions could have been answered throughout the season, but you had this coach who the majority of us don't really like that. Some are a bit more than others, but a lot of these, sort of arguments that we're having amongst ourselves could have been wrapped up and answered had these kids played more and we found out what they actually are, right? Like, you could have found out what Grimes is. You could have found out what Obi is or is not. Same thing with IQ among, just other players on the team. And then you would have been able to walk into a trade with Danny Ainge and say definitively, okay, this is what's going, this is what's not. Now, obviously, you're dealing with Danny Ainge, who has his own version of what he wants. But again, this goes back to the questions that we have throughout how this roster has been utilized. And that's my biggest frustration, because the only thing that will matter, whether we get Donovan or not, is how Tom Thibodeau decides to use these guys. Like, nothing else matters except for how Tom Thibodeau decides to use these guys. And he has a philosophy that has been attributed by the great Fred Katz of The Athletic on Knicks film school with Jonathan Macri, that this man has a religion behind what he does in terms of 48 minutes of rim protection, 2 feet in the paint. He runs a hybrid version of the triangle on offense. Among so many other things, we have a fan base that is now sort of curtailing ourselves to his ideology as if it's the end-all, be-all with what he does as a head coach. Mind you, he's a quote-unquote win-now coach that has not won now as a head coach. He's won as a defensive coordinator, but he hasn't won as a head coach. But yet in all, he has the entire fan base turned up about the value of players like an OB and IQ, because it's all about quote-unquote earning it in practice. Meanwhile, Tom Thibodeau is getting out-coached by the evolution of the league that is changing and adjusting and is beating him on a regular basis because he's so stuck in what, he believes. So this will all come down to what Tom Thibodeau does, if he has the ability to evolve, because whether he has a Donovan Mitchell, you can have all these superstar, nice additions that you want to put into the pot, but if you don't know how to cook it, it doesn't really matter. And that's just something that, again, I just wanted to highlight. I understand elements to Mark's points. The frustration, the nervousness, the sort of anxiety behind how we're moving revolves around the unanswered questions of these younger players that should be answered. And that's all because Tom Thibodeau is Tom Thibodeau. Do we honestly believe that Tom Thibodeau is capable of change? And that's what it really comes down to.
We shall see. We shall see.
Good call. Good call.
Appreciate you.
Just the crazy one. He just killed it on every point, every cylinder. He
Appreciate your biology.
Yeah, I would like to get on Tibbs a lot more too, but we don't usually talk about Tibbs. We usually
let me tell you something. This could be a problem for stars not wanting to come in either, because his style is not what stars like to play. So again, we have a lot of question marks to say, okay, I'm going to give up all of this for this set player that don't move the mountains. Now,
what's the alternative?
Mark,
what's the alternative?
Can we stop with that? There's nobody you can bring Durant on this team.
No, stop. I understand. I'm just saying. I just want Leon to watch what he does. That's it.
He is. Otherwise, the trade would have been done already. I trust this front office. They know what they're doing.
But I'm also
enough assets so that we can continue to build the team. That's a priority of theirs, and I agree with that.
But what he said with Tibbs, and I said it, he has to change his defense philosophy for us to be a team that can defend on high levels. If he doesn't change, it don't matter. It just doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Because he's the one.
It matters. Different coaches have won different ways. You just got to put the players around him that works for his system. That's what you got to do. Royology, I appreciate you. I want to get to this comment. Come back and call on the next show.
Salute to you, man.
Alex Isaac, you can get fired either way. Call is right. Giving away young players and picks like you guys are talking will certainly get somebody fired. You can't just give picks away saying they might be no good. I don't think Leon Rose, I guess, will do that. But it can work the other way as well. You can get fired passing on.
Yeah, you can get fired.
Holding on to a player too long and that player levels out and don't become who you thought he would be, but you held on to him and let a star pass. So you can get fired either way. And that's what makes it a tough decision for front offices. And that's the difference between them and fans. Their jobs are on the line. Ours aren't. We're going to still be able to turn on the TV and rock with the Knicks.
I'm talking regardless.
And Steph, it's not even about that. Even if we bring Donovan here, right? We know what Donovan is. We know what Donovan's going to bring every night. The question is the three other players that have to, be behind him at times. There's question marks on how they're going to play.
Listen, Mark, there's question marks all around.
Yeah.
Anytime you bring in a star or a high usage player, there's going to be question marks because they disrupt the apple cart. Somebody like Grimes, he could probably be on 30 teams He gonna come in. He gonna
Listen.
play. He's not disrupting anything.
No.
Anytime you bring in a high usage player, they're going to disrupt whatever you've done.
I don't want people to think that I don't want Donovan. I would like Donovan. It's not getting him. It's when he's here, how the others are going to look and how they're going to produce around him. Where, you know, we don't want to waste Donovan time, because Donovan even said it. He said he wants to go somewhere where it's winning, He was just on a winning team. He's not going to
that's what the Knicks.
But Mark, but that's what radiology was saying too, is how Tibbs is going to use them in the system.
Gonna have something, something to do with it. And listen, keep in mind, and we're gonna close this out. I'm gonna get last words. The Knicks front office, whether it's going to be on the hot seat, even if they get Donovan Mitchell, because when they got Carmelo Anthony, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, people complaining about what we gave up, but that didn't work because of what the front office did or didn't do after they got Carmelo Anthony. And it's going to be the same thing with Donovan Mitchell. You can waste his time here and he doesn't re-sign if you don't go out and put a winning team around him and he sees that progress. You got him for 3 years, you got to show improve. Well, if
that's where
for 3 years, you're gonna have to show improve. Otherwise, he's gonna be out of here. So it's not just about getting him; it's about keeping him as well.
Yeah. So you got to watch what you do. So I like how Leon is playing it, because again, he's leaving a team that has an identity to it, but he knew where they're at. They're not gonna go far. So if he's gonna want to come to the Knicks, he's hoping the Knicks, when he arrives here, he's gonna give him the grace period of a year and a half. But you better make sure you bring someone in so I can get to where I need to, because it would make no sense for him to leave Utah to come here and be on a worse team. So my thing is just making sure things are going to go well when he's here, because you could have him and it could go to wasteland. So
no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
True.
Anybody else want to say anything about anything we've talked about today? Basically, the panel seems to agree that without Donovan Mitchell, we are a playing team, except for Jarrell and Tony, who, if things break, people got to stay out of their minds, in my opinion, 5th or 6th seed. But for the most part, we agree playing if we stay the way it is. But, and I was really surprised at this, to be honest. If we make this trade 6 to 8, that's
listen, I'm taking that, because again, my thing is with the Knicks team,
it's the first.
I don't want to watch my Knicks team and they don't know what they're doing.
Got it, Mark. But I gotta let 6 to 8. So wow. Anything you guys want to add that after Mark was talking, things was going off in your head about, you know, what you wanted to add before we get out of here?
Nah, man, I just want Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I think,
don't get me wrong. I don't want to just we didn't really say what the house necessarily is. Obviously, I don't want to give.
Mark, the house is the 2029 pick. That's it.
True. But for me, 2 or 3 players, you know what I'm saying, 4 draft picks. I'm not even counting it as 6 if 2 of them are second round picks. I don't care. I don't really care about the second round picks. We can give those up. So, yeah, 2 or 3 players, 4 first round picks. Seems like a reasonable deal. I see why Leon Rose is not doing that, even if that is, because he's not we don't really need to rush right now.
Yeah.
But I still want Donovan Mitchell, and I think he will be here. It just, predicated on what Leon Rose wants to do.
Right. And
Yeah,
go ahead, DJ.
I'm just gonna echo the same. I think that it will get done. I think that it has to get done. I think everything is leading up to this getting done. I think that there's not going to be the opportunity to get someone next year and to acquire all these picks and to have to sit on them for an entire season would just look really bizarre for that to happen. So ultimately, I think whatever the deal is, it will get done. But either way, I'm encouraged by the team going into the season. And I just think that we have a lot of reason to be confident. And I think that Mitchell being happy coming here, Brunson being here, Mitchell re-signing here, I think these are signs that people don't hate Tibbs the way the fan base thinks people hate Tibbs. Tibbs is more of a player's coach than people think. Grimes seems to like him. RJ likes him. So, I mean, we got to get off that bandwagon. That's a whole nother side story for another day. And Jarrell, maybe we should be talking Tibbs.
That would be a hot show.
Yeah, that's
timing is horrible.
See you next week. See you next week.
This is almost like the off season. Maybe we will do a Thibodeau show next week.
Right, because Tibbs is the answer to most of our questions. We just can't answer it that way.
It all depends. Yeah, it all depends. You know how.
I think it's equal.
As I gotta agree with the analogy.
It's 50-50, Steph, I believe.
Yeah, it's not. I think he's a part of it, and we don't talk about it a lot. But you can't out some coaches can out coach a not so great roster. The only thing I'll say is, and I said this earlier in the show, those protected picks. Keep in mind. It's just like you find $20 on the street, and then you go to buy something. You're like, nah, I ain't giving up that. You didn't even have that 20.
How they just acquired those picks was like, that's my guy Brock doing his due diligence. They basically got those picks for dirty laundry. Okay.
And they gave him a lottery pick for it.
Okay.
That's what they did.
And got
3
three.
first-round picks.
They're protected. Why would I give up a lottery for protected? I don't care if they're 3.
Because there was nobody in the draft this year that was going to be impacting your lineup. No. And they wanted the money to be freed up so they could make a deal.
And not just that, they knew. Yeah. Listen, we heard about the Donovan Mitchell. I'm sure on the inside. Remember, we heard Miami was putting. I said Miami is talking to them about he's not even on the market. They already knew he was on the market. So I believe the Knicks did that because they knew what it would take to get Donovan Mitchell. And so they would rather let me flip and get 3 protected picks to help sweeten the pot. That's why I'm not crying over those picks. That's why I feel like if you're willing to give up the 4 unprotected picks, then that's the bulk.
Take them.
Don't cry over the 2 or 3 unprotected picks that probably not going to convey anyway. I think two of them, you know, might 1 or 2 of them might not convey. You know what I'm saying? You just found that $20 bill. Now you don't want to give it up. You didn't even have it.
That just means
I'm going right to the store.
Too broke in the first place.
I'm going right to the store.
They gave up. They gave up a lottery.
Break that 20.
They did give up a lottery because who they wanted on the
20. You broke the 20 and you spent it. It has no value.
There was nobody with that. There was nobody with that pick.
Let me ask you a question. You think that pick wouldn't be as good as if they try to trade for Donovan Mitchell throughout having that lottery pick? Because that's what they did with the Gobert pick.
Oh, the actual player they drafted?
Oh, the actual player?
Yeah, that's
Kessler.
It's not even that. No. I'm just talking about it's an 11th pick, right? It's still valuable. It's Klay Thompson went at 11. Donovan Mitchell went at what? 11th?
Hey, right now it would be a player. It wouldn't be a pick. It would be a player.
Yeah, but so if this set player, 11 pick, whoever was drafted to whatever, turns out to be something, it's a valuable pick at the end of the day.
At the end of but we talking about years down the line. That's not even part of our timeline anymore. Like people talk about they got the DeJounte Murray was like, not DeJounte Murray, Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
The Carmelo. First of all, we don't know if we would have even drafted him.
No, we would have.
And he didn't fit the timeline, obviously. So a lot of times it's a trade-off. It's not like you don't think they're going to become good players. They're not going to become good players within your timeline. That's why you make the move. But anyway, we out of here. I appreciate you, Tony Crow, Stafford, Jarrell, DJ Shuttle, Mark, using all my energy to moderate the show. Now,
teamwork make it. You know? Listen, man. Life is all about challenges, and people don't get challenged, man. You know, you go to the wasteland.
Hey, saying life is about challenges when you're the challenge is crazy.
Right.
Listen, man. Listen, I'm the boss in Mortal Kombat, man. I'm the 4 Guru final boss, man. I'm here.
And Nick family, don't worry about them those protected picks. We just found them at the draft. We good.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you lost $2 and you found 20. We good.
We
you
good.
know?
For real.
Get Donovan Mitchell.
No, you get him.
Anyway,
Bring him home.
Tony, you good? You had something to say?
I just wanted to say, Jarrell, appreciate you backing me up tonight. You know, not leaving me on that ledge by myself.
Right.
And you know, Queen, as always, great show. DJ Shuttle, I'm glad you getting in on the panel time. You know, getting them panel hours up.
Yes, sir. I'm in the program.
Staffer, you know, resident panelists always here. And Mark, man, just be calm, man. We gotta get you a chill pill, man.
You talk to the man upstairs. God made me this way.
Yo, we're gonna hang out one day. I'm gonna show you how I stay so mellow and calm. You know,
listen, everyone is different, man. You know, I'm just
maybe that's why I'm calm too, Tone. That's why I'm calm.
Right.
Y'all later years.
I just want to say, Wednesday, the crossover, me and Tony Crow right here on the Nothing But Knicks channel. Tomorrow, my channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk. We do the Just Nicking It series. And Thursday, I'm doing a special on Dope Soul Sports Talk. I got content creators coming in, Sim, Eru, Guard Up Knicks. I don't want to miss anybody. Who else is, oh man. Anyway, basically, our YouTubers, Nick content creators, the new ESPN. Do you even need to plug in, turn on the national media, even the beat reporters, the local reporters to get your Nick news? There's a movement that's been going on for years that I recently I'm a part of. The content creators, they'll tell you their stories, why they got started. I really believe, I think it's even more than filling in the gaps that the national media and the local beat reporters aren't doing. I think it's even more than that because you get an opportunity to subscribe. And every Thursday you watch Law and Order. You know, every Monday you can tune into the Queen's Court. You know, every pregame and postgame you can turn to Nothing But Knicks and you can get your pregame and postgame coverage. You can watch the Knicks postgame if you want to, but you don't have to. And that's what this movement is about. So we're gonna do that show on Dope Soul Sports Talk Thursday around 9:30. Oh, Hartwell is gonna be there for the love of the game. So I'm gonna be there as well. It's gonna be a dope panel. It's gonna be a dope show.
9:30. I'm gonna be there too, Queen. I might be.
Oh, yeah?
I might be 15 minutes late, but I'll be there.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. And Ron from Still Nick Fans. I knew I was missing one person. I think it's gonna be a dope show. So if you're interested in content that's Nick related, but not just about on court stuff, tune into that show.
Yeah,
and without, I just dropped my my link to subscribe to Dope Soul Sports Talk, Knicks and Bruises, and then also, of course, you know, Nothing But Knicks. This is where it all started, at least for me. So if you're not a subscriber, become a subscriber, and also
what y'all waiting for, man? Tap the like button, subscribe to the channel.
Right, and also become a member. Become a member. This is that, and we're going to talk about this on that show as well. Specifically with Nothing But Knicks, the events that we hold, and if you're a member, you're going to get first dibs on that. You know, when last year we did the opening, the Knicks home opener. We did the draft party. We got some other things in the works as well. So if you're
big things.
All right, become a member. You'll hear about it first. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, Nick family, we out of here.
Peace.
You did good tonight, Steph. Holding it down.
Mark, making me earn my moderator strike.
Yeah, man,